be opening this special meeting agenda of the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, Calexico Financing Authority. It is Monday, July 31st, 5:30 p.m. We will be calling this meeting to order at 5:30. Roll call. Seeing no clerk, I'll go ahead and conduct the roll call. Councilmember Manzanares.
Here.
Councilmember Moreno.
Here.
Vice Mayor Romo.
Present.
Present. Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Ureña here. All right. We'll be adjourning to closed session. Seeing, are there any public comments? No public comments for the, yes, for closed session? Okay. No comments for closed session. We will be adjourning to closed session now.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. It is 6:37. Son las 6:37. Bienvenidos a la sesión de Cabildo de Calexico. Welcome to the Calexico City Council, Calexico Redevelopment Successor Agency, and Calexico Financing Authority. Regular meeting, open session. We're calling this meeting to order. Ms. Gabby, could you proceed with roll call? Here.
Present.
Here. Here. Here.
Thank you, Ms. Gabby. I would invite everybody to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Garcia, our mission statement.
City of Calexico mission statement.
Together, we pledge to provide effective and efficient services in a courteous and respectful manner to improve the quality of life for all in our neighborhood community. May we bow our heads para la invocación. Vamos a invocar esta sesión de cabildo. Oramos todos en nuestro lenguaje espiritual de preferencia. We all pray in our preferred language of spirituality and faith. Resguardamos un momento de silencio. We ask for a moment of silence for the tragedies of people without homes who have recently been dying on Calexico downtown streets. Pedimos un momento de silencio para las personas que han perdido la vida en el calor este verano en las calles, especialmente del centro histórico de Calexico. Se suman a las 7 muertes a nivel condado que están siendo investigadas por posible golpe de calor u otros motivos. Resguardamos el silencio, vibrando altamente con los poderes del cielo. En el nombre de Jesús, en el nombre de Dios, pedimos que esta sesión de Cabildo lleve a diálogos comunitarios saludables y lleguemos a buenos acuerdos como comunidad. En el nombre de Dios, amén. Closed session announcements.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council meeting closed session items 1 and 2 on the agenda. Direction was given, but no reportable action were taken. Thank you.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda. I do believe Ms. City Manager Colio has asked for item number 6 to be pulled from the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
So moved to approve, moving
Second.
6 out. Second by Ms. Romo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comments and public appearances. This is the time for the public to address the City Council on the special agenda items only. The mayor will recognize you, and when you come to the microphone, please state your name and place of residence for the record. While members of the public are encouraged to participate, it is unlawful to disturb or delay the City Council meeting with personal or slanderous remarks. The City Council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussing items not included in the printed agenda. Please direct your questions and comments to the City Council. We do have some speakers on the consent agenda, so we will go ahead and call them for those items before we make a decision or discuss the consent agenda. We have Ms. Morales that would like to speak on items number 3 for the consent agenda. Number 6 has been moved out, and we'll get to that shortly. Ms. Morales? For number 3?
You mean number 6, right?
Number 3. 6 has been moved out of consent.
Okay.
It is on the agenda, but it will be outside of consent, so we'll get to that after consent. There was a motion to approve and 6 out of consent. 6.
Good afternoon, City Council. Thank you for allowing me to speak on number 3. On the submitting the $25,000 grant application, is this for the community to apply for the $500?
No,
No? This is a different agenda?
that's what I was saying. It's
Yes.
So I'm a little bit confused.
Number 3 is a $25,000 grant application to the County of Imperial Community Benefit Program.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. So I'm sorry, I got that confused. I'm gonna scratch that out.
Okay, so
Okay.
then I'll call you for number 6 when we get there.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalo, you had a petition to speak on items 3, 4, 5, and 6. Adelante.
Is that how my name reads?
There's a bunch of acronyms, Gonzalo Gerardo.
No, I put down honorably retired Police Chief Gonzalo Gerardo. And that's something that I take very seriously because not too many people can say that they retired honorably. I don't need clapping. My thing is, does people get fired and people get pushed out, and I didn't. I retired on my own terms. Javier, you feel the same way, right? Honorably retired? Thank you. I just have a quick question before Mr., and I don't know if you can answer me. Special meetings, I know you got to stay on agenda. I'm not going to go off topic, but I had something prepared that covered almost everything at the beginning, and then I wasn't going to take more than 3 minutes.
Would you like to speak on all the items at once?
Yeah, for special meetings, we don't have the general public comment section. That's only reserved for general comments.
Okay.
But it's in a statement, that's what you.
It's a statement regarding all
I-
three.
I-
I mean, that way I don't waste your time.
Of course, I'll let you know if we're off
Us-
topic or if we're on topic.
Okay. So good afternoon, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, Council, ladies and gentlemen. Here are those and who are here today watching in person and the people on the internet. As you know, my name is Gonzalo Gerardo, which and I am one of a few honorably retired police chiefs from the city of Calexico. My current address is 617 McCarran Court West in Imperial, and most likely, due to my mom's health problems, I'll probably end up moving in with her pretty soon to help my sister take care of her. I am here today because in my 3 decades in experience attending city council meetings, I had never seen a special council meeting where the agenda was packed with items. Usually it's 1 or 2 emergency items. A lot of this stuff could have been scheduled for a regular meeting. The council right now has a track record of having a lot of special meetings.
Mr. Gerardo, that comment would have been more appropriate at the approval of the agenda.
But you didn't allow
It
anybody
is-
to approve the agenda.
Excuse me, another outburst and you will be escorted out. Yes, yes. I'm warning you, I am warning you, if you have another outburst, you will be escorted out of this building by the officer.
So
Okay?
it's cutting into
Excuse
my
me,
time. So
Mr. Gonzalo, as I was saying, you're going to speak on items 3, 4, 5,
but this
6.
this is something that I had prepared
It's
prior
not-
to speaking on this. I mean,
Mr.
it kind of like goes into something.
Okay, please go into the topic.
Yeah,
not
for
the format
special,
of the agenda.
for special meetings, the comments have to be relate to the agenda items themselves. At a regular meeting, you can speak on any general topic.
Tune in for our podcast, anyways. Hey, so going back to this, so item number 3. One of the things why I say that this is a waste of time and money at this time. They're having other meetings pretty soon. Item number 3, to my brothers firefighters. I'm glad you guys are asking for this money, very much needed. But I was looking at the item and it says that it closed on March 22nd, 2023, or until all funds are exhausted. So waste of time having a meeting if the funds are not going to get used. Hopefully they'll get them because they need the money. Number 4, same thing, good money going to a good cause. I just think we could have waited for another not have a special meeting. Number 5, Same thing, you can always retro the interim city clerk. And at another meeting, not 2 days meeting, spending money again. I'm talking on the items. Number 6, Ms. Coley, I'm glad you picked that up. It should have gone into a discussion agenda, not a consent agenda. We all make mistakes. I used to make a lot of them, still do. Number 7, city has been out of compliance for several years when it came to this. You call the state, say, hey, we're going to be another week or 2 late, or whatever it is, waste of money, special meeting. That's what I'm trying to prove here, guys. I mean, that special meetings cost money. Cost money to record, to have staff here, cost money for everybody. The number 8, that's not a consent agenda, right?
That's discussion. Yeah.
That's discussion. Okay, I'll wait for that one.
Okay.
And then the other one. And one of the things I had at the end says, I'll wait for those items to come up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gerardo. Okay, seeing no further public comment on the consent agenda, which is items 3, 4, and 5, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Ms. Romero. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Romo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We're now on item number 6. Ms. Blanca Morales did have a comment on this item. It is a discussion and action of appointment of a member to LAFCO Advisory Panel on the Countywide Healthcare District. Adelante, Blanca.
Thank you. Good afternoon, City Council members of the City of Calexico. Thank you for allowing me to comment on this item. As some of you know, I've been working with Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia in regards to the developing of the one healthcare district, disbanding Heffernan Healthcare District and also Brawley Pioneer. I did give you a copy of my bio. I'm hoping that you consider me to be one of your advisory boards here to represent the City of Calexico. I am in favor of that only because it's been 25 years since the City of Calexico has had a hospital, no urgent care. The urgent care has been now in the works for 2.5 years. So I want to make sure that whatever is left over, not sure if there's going to be anything over, but there's been $5 million in Heffernan Healthcare financial banking, I believe, and then there's about $2 million that they budgeted for the urgent care, and I believe they've done purchase orders for another $2 million. So not quite sure how much will be left over, but hopefully it does get to open. And then also collaborating with El Centro Regional, since they do get a lot of our ER visits through the City of Calexico paramedics. So that's also another place where we need to fund the City of Calexico paramedics. There are hospital on wheels. So those are some of the ideas that I have mentioned to Assemblyman Garcia to make sure that taxpayers' money is kept here in Calexico. And with my experience, you have a copy of my bio. I know exactly how to run revenue cycle managements clinically and financially. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. We have one more. Is that for this item? Yes.
Good evening, council members. My name is Daniela Flores. I am a resident here of Calexico. I am a public health professional. I've been looking at as a first responder in the pandemic alongside many community-based organizations here that I have the privilege to do as my occupation. There's been an opportunity to provide, offer as wanting to be considered for this option, be considered for representing our community. I've been very involved in health equity here and in building the health equity program as part of the county public health department in partnership with them. I'm currently the representative, state representative by the public health department officer to be the advisory group member of the Binational Office of Binational Board of Health. Would definitely be considered into the discussion of the healthcare district, and just wanted to put my name as a committed advocate for representation, for transparency, for accountability, and for ensuring that we have justice for Calexico. We used to have a hospital, now we don't. I share similar concerns. I'm really concerned with, processes that happen behind closed doors. I think it's really important to have this discussion in public in terms of how we move forward with healthcare. I'm very aware of the situation happening statewide as it relates to the requirements that hospitals are undergoing, and the challenges that they have at hand to be able to face this challenge and the financial crisis. So with that, I be happy to talk further about the nomination.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Seeing no other public comments, we'll commence. Is that? You had 6 as well? Adelante.
I'm sorry, I just had a flashback. Item number 6, good. I'm for Calexico getting the health care they need. Being a police officer and then doing 31 years, I saw a lot of people die or actually get worse when they were having a stroke and not be able to recover fully because we didn't have a hospital. The only thing I ask on this, and as a lot of us ask, is that we get the right person in there. Let's not get somebody just because, I'm going to try to, when I live with my mom, I'm going to try to bully my way into being on their board. No, if I'm not good at that, I'm not good at that. I'm not a professional when it comes to that. But you do have people, we'll have people that are maybe, instead of just jumping into it right away, we go out there and vet them and make sure that they're going to be helping us. One thing too is that I understand that AB 918 is still going through hearings and we still don't know what's going to happen. So I'm glad that you're taking a proactive approach to try to get somebody in line, because once that gets passed, if it gets passed, you need somebody that's going to hit the ground running in order for us to take advantage of all the monies or the help we're going to get to bring healthcare to the. You going to ask her to kick me out?
No, she's just arriving.
And my whole thing is I'm for it, guys. Believe me, I'm for this. I'm hoping that we just pick the right person to do it. Somebody that's going to really look at, and like Ms. Flores said, equality for all of us, especially us dinosaurs. We do need that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further comments on item number 6? Comentarios en la número 6. Bringing discussion, yes, on number 6.
Norma Aguilar, 839 Heber Avenue, Calexico. I think it is important to have a person who is knowledgeable about this, and if I may, I would like to express my support for Blanca Morales to be appointed to this position. Blanca has come back to her community and has built up the services to not only to our senior citizens, but overall general ages. And I really support the idea of getting someone who's knowledgeable, is there in the trenches, and has already a considerable track record. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. Any further comments on number 6? Have you turned in a slip yet? For 9? I'll go ahead and mark down number 6 as well. Ms. Carla Flores?
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council, and public. Carla Flores, 602 Emilia. I concur Ms. Aguilar in regards to nominating Blanca Morales for that position as our health representative. I've been working with her on her board for the past, maybe 5 years, and I've seen her excellence work, the excellent work that she's been doing and that she has brought to the city of Calexico, not only to Calexico, but she's going out and beyond throughout Imperial County. So I really encourage that you considered her name as the applicant for this position. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Okay. Any further comments before we bring it back to council? I know you had turned in Perdón. Ms. Salsa, you had turned in for number 4, but it was or do you still want to speak? Yeah. Oh, can we do it after this item, after we vote on this one? Yes. Okay, bring it to council, seeing no further comments. Adelante, compañeros. Any discussion? Sure.
Well, first of all, thank you for those who came up here and your interest in serving as the advisory board for the new healthcare district. Spirit of community service. So having said that, what I would, we should take applications. That should be the process. And then we want the community also to speak up, and we have some candidates. And then also, I believe we should also like the process that's fair, transparent, and it goes aligns with our community needs in terms of healthcare. What I like to see is people who apply should have the bare minimum healthcare experience, which would help us make a better choice choosing that person. And I believe that having a process, and we don't even know how's that going to played out because it's brought up for discussion and potentially action items. But I would certainly have a process where we have applications. I know there's more people in the community, and then have us decide based on merit and so forth. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Any further comments? Comentarios?
I concur with that also, that we should open it up. Okay. What's the time frame that we have? Because based on the backup, there's no time as to when this appointment needs to be made.
Unfortunately, the meetings are ongoing, as in they're waiting for our selection.
Okay. So other cities have done their appointments?
Yes. We have to do ours as soon as possible.
Okay. So again, I know time is of the essence, but I do also want to give a fair chance to whoever wants to apply. Maybe the ones that already came up and stated their qualifications, which is great. I agree that should be people that understand the system and truly are going to advocate not just on the passion but on the essence of the subject matter. So I want to see a little bit more. I know that again, ideally today would have been the best day to appoint, but being that this was not even properly agendized, this item, so let's give it a little more time. So with that also, I don't know if after that I would like to make a motion. So whatever comments. Second. Excuse me.
Mr. Manzanares,
It's just clarification. Is the motion to table the item until we have applications, or
to create an application and
to create a process to?
I feel the same way. We're just not at the moment.
However,
If you allow me, then just remember, August, we don't have meetings in August. It goes dark. That's what is so pressure for us to have a lot of the items on the special meeting, because we were having 1 or 2 pressure items, so we added the rest. But however, there is a possibility that we might have to have another special meeting for the appointment of the chief of police. So unless you want to take that route, we can do a process, your discretion, your direction, to maybe set up requirements for who's going to be the applicant and what are you looking into the applicant. And if you give me some ideas, we can develop something so that we can
just
send
because
out.
just for transparency, I do sit as a vice chair for the LAFCO. I would even suggest you contact Mr. Huberger and the LAFCO. What's the process? Because this board is going to be regulated by LAFCO eventually.
Yes.
They're going to recommend anything that's happened in the community, valley-wide. They're going to make the recommendations to LAFCO. And LAFCO is going to take the ultimate vote on that. Okay, so it's important that we also get LAFCO involved as a guiding principle.
would you feel comfortable? I think in the time frame of expecting a special meeting in August, that's okay.
Yes.
I think we'll still be in time. I would suggest, I don't know if you would both agree, We can do the same process like for commissioners, where they write down years of experience, education, and attach the cover letters.
Yes.
We can just recycle that process unless there's something particular you want to add.
I would even, I mean, if it's permitted, I would even help you with that, because I sit there at LAFCO.
Sounds good.
And then bring it back to the public and tell the public exactly how the process is going to be. I think that's a fair. I know the legislators, they're in recess right now for the summer in August, so they're not doing anything around this bill. But coming back in September, they are going to vote on this. It's going to go up the way to but eventually it's going to go up to the voters in Imperial County. So we still have some time here. But I think we won't be rushing. I think the process, find out what process we need to do. I think locally here we know what we want. There's people already interested, but I think LAFCO will be also instrumental in helping us out.
But the decision's going to come back to council.
Right, yes.
Of course. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. And it'll be, can we use the same form as the commissioners? Is that okay with everyone?
I can try, so,
Or
I don't
modify
know.
that form?
We can try to use that form, however, we will feel more comfortable, like Mr. Moreno is
Having
suggesting,
LAFCO's
to have
input?
LAFCO
Right.
looking into the form to see if it's going to meet the criteria that they're looking for,
Okay.
perhaps.
Well, they already sent a letter, you know, they don't stay as to requirements, just someone that, again, wants to be on that. And I think at least the two candidates that showed up already have, you know, a lot of the qualifications. So now if we go with that, you know, we just, to me, I want to see resumes, you know, attached to, you know,
Yes.
an agenda.
Okay.
Then they can do the same thing that these two ladies already did, come up to council and state their qualifications. And in fact, that's part of the requirement that is being asked. They're going to attend these meetings, they're going to participate, and then they're going to come back to council to report, and not just to council, but the community. So I want to see that part of the, you know, application and qualifications of these individuals. So why create more, you know?
There's a motion. Can you repeat your motion?
Yes.
I make a motion, we have an application process, also, which requires the process of interviewing and qualifications and stuff like that normally do. And then also consult with LAFCO, because eventually that board is going to recommend, and what's the process for guidance, and then bring it as soon as possible.
And you would be authorizing the city manager.
Yes, so that, and also bring it back to the citizens, can also, we're transparent, and we want to make sure you guys have your input, who those candidates are, so we can make the better choice to serve you.
Okay. Is there a second to this motion?
Second.
There's a second by Mr. Garcia. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. It'll be brought back and city manager is authorized. Moving on to item number 7, approval of amendment number 1 to professional services agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates in the amount of $12,200 from ARPA. Yes?
Did you approve the consent agenda?
Yes. Disculpa. Margaret, you guys were in line for number 4. If you would like to give your public comment. Number 7.
Good afternoon. My name is Margaret Sousa. I'm the Executive Director of Share Helpline Center. I want to thank the City of Calexico for that donation of $500. That donation is not given to me. It's given to Share Helpline. There's comments. Why block me and then talk about me? Don't block me and talk about me, please. I mean, that's for the agency. Why are you guys saying that they're giving me $500? No, they're not. I don't handle monies at Share Helpline. Somebody else handles the money. I have nothing to do with it. I even have a friend that stated that I make enough galas. We only make one gala a year for fundraiser. I don't make a lot of galas, and I'm going to go partying. I would never be in any position here in Calexico because it's terrible the way you rip people apart. It's terrible. You know, that money is going to be used for victims. You don't, in este pueblo, we have dozens of women that are beaten up, little kids that are molested. You can't imagine the type of work that we do. So please, stop picking on me. I am not the one getting the money. I did not flip. I am not taking sides. I can't afford to take sides. There's too many people on both sides that I love very much. I am also for Blanca to be part of that thing. I think she would do great. La señora Blanca I'm sorry. She just got up. Blanca, where are you? Okay, that she's perfect for it. But see, I want to get through to you. I do not take any sides. I'm not kidding. Why, if we don't belong to the recall, then we're getting hated? That's not right. I have too much work. I'm too old to be messing with stuff like this. You have people that work for you and you do that? You know, what is it gonna end? You know, I don't have need for that. I love the lady that's thrashing me. I sincerely do. She's been in my house. Why do we have to become enemies because I don't follow her? I don't follow her. I don't follow them. I don't follow nobody. Get that through. And you know what? What Chalo said right here, it's true. He is a very decent, you know, I worked with him like this on cases, and he'll tell you right now how many people I had to reach out to him to help. So until you know, until you walk in my shoes, just leave me alone, please. Don't put me on that mess that se vendió la margarita por 500, she flipped. No, ¿de qué me voy a hacer flip? Si apenas puedo caminar o andar flipping. Ay, por favor. That's all. Thank you, guys. Somebody told me that I got it. Somebody told me that I got it, that I got the money, that I should have waited. Wait for what? I have nothing to hide. That it was a wrong time for me to get the money. You know, this was promised before we made the gala. You know, every town donates to all the agencies. You know, Blanca, everybody. Marisa, you know. Flores, you know. Everybody dona. Supervisors donan. A mí los supervisors nunca me han dado nada, maybe $2,000. El IID dona. Todos donan. Y el que tiene suerte agarra el dinero para la víctima. Entiendan, por favor. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Sosa. Joana, también ibas a hablar en el 4. Disculpe.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for the opportunity of being here today. I'm here to support as well my director, Margaret Salsa, on regards to the whole situation that's going on. And I would really like to ask our community to remind you, that we are a agency that provides direct victim services to sexual assault victims and domestic violence. And I would like for our community to continue to be ethical and to be respectful and kind to the agencies that are working really hard to provide services to victims 24/7. I am a lead advocate and I provide sexual assault counseling services 24/7, like I just mentioned. And when there is a rape in our community, we get a phone call on our 24/7 lines, and we already have a protocol where we go and accompany a victim in the most stressful and horrible moments in their lives, where sometimes we think that we might not go through that situation or be exposed to that. But sadly, the news is that it does not matter your education, your wealth, your race, your economic status. Anyone can be exposed at any moment to be a victim of sexual violence. And in that moment, it is highly important for us all to come together as a community and to be able to be prepared and have knowledge and help those victims. And most importantly, help them know how to become survivors. Because we don't want someone who's a victim to be affected mentally for the rest of their lives, and emotionally as well. We want them, to know that there are true-hearted people that will go above and beyond to help them, to raise awareness, to raise prevention, and to let them know that they're not alone and that their story will impact many other victims out there, because we want this to stop. We want to live in a world and in a community free of sexual violence. And so we want to thank you, and thank you, Margaret, for everything you do for our community, because you are an amazing, executive director who goes above and beyond. And I see you on Facebook asking for donations, and I see how you ask in every city for donations for our victims, because they are the ones that, tomorrow they will know that they weren't alone. So thank you. And thank you, council members.
Thank you. Continuing with Joanna Ramirez. Continuing with item number 7, approval of the amendment number 1, professional services agreement with Kimberly Horn and Associates, the amount of $12,200 from ARPA fund completion of the housing element. Total contract amount $160,000. Para ustedes que están esperando los temas de los homeless y el ARPA esenciales, sigue después de este. If you're waiting for ARPA, homeless, cooling center, and essential worker, it's going to be after this item. Adelante with the presentation.
Good afternoon. The item is to amend a contract. As you may be aware, the city of Calexico has been out of compliance on the housing element for several years. Back in 2021, according to the records, the city received proposals to proceed with the to prepare the housing element. This was a grant allocated by SB2 through the state of California, $160,000, and it was awarded to one of the contractors, to one consultant. However, per the consultant, we received correspondence that identifies items that were eliminated from the original scope of work. And in conversations with the state, they identified all the missing items. They sent us a letter. We sent it back to the consultant. Actually, the Housing and Community Development approached the consultant and asked them to please help us to complete the report. There are several elements that are new in California. There are requirements. And so what they did, they are allowing us to use the minimum requirements to meet the housing element. So we have about 45 days to complete that. And I'm requesting your authorization to add to the original contract, which was $147,000, if I'm not mistaken, and add an additional $12,200 to complete the minimum requirements from the housing element, and so that we can become in compliance.
And you had mentioned this, we have been out of compliance for 6 years?
6 years,
6
according
years.
to the records that it was submitted to us. So not because the city has not attempted to comply, they have made several attempts. And it was until recently that we were able to communicate with the state directly, and that they pointed up all the missing items. And they have made a statement that the minimum that we had to have is this $12,200 so that we can comply. There are other elements that are needed for a good housing element, but if we comply with the minimum, we will have a housing element in place.
God bless. Okay.
Okay.
We do have 2 public comments before we get to
Yes.
discussion. Ms. Christine Wong. Señora Wong Ramirez.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine Wong Ramirez. I am born and raised in Calexico. I'm 61 years old. I've been here since birth. So my thing is, yes, I've traveled throughout the state because I work for the state of California. I am now happily retired. But on item 7, it caught my eye, and especially right now that you just said that there's been some changes. and you're requesting 12,200 from the ARPA money, okay? Where is the rest of the money coming from? You said it was a grant?
So I'm requesting $12,200 to be added to the contract that it was originally $147,000. The grant was $160,000. So whatever difference is gonna come out of ARPA. We have an allocation of $10,000 to $12,000 in ARPA that it was allocated a few months ago. So basically, we're gonna get maybe, let me see if I'm doing my math correctly, we're gonna be getting somewhere like $100 from the ARPA money.
Okay, so you're saying that it's covered already, there's no money coming out of the city coffers?
Exactly. The reason why we couldn't recover that money from the grant is because we don't have a final report.
Okay,
So the request, they spent all the funding, but they never made the request to the state because the state requires that when they give us a grant, I'm giving you a grant, the opportunity to submit the report. And because we continue submitting reports that are not in compliance, the state is not giving us the money back. So we extended the contract about 4 months ago. And so they allowing us to complete the report. We will get reimbursed for the expenditures, but $100 more or less, $95 to $100.
okay, and this company was the only company that was bidded for, or was there other bids that came in for the $160,000?
At that time, I wasn't here, but my understanding, the bids came out in 2021, February 2021.
Okay,
And so out of those two proposals, one was selected. But at the city council, at that time, by the city manager or the planning director, and they awarded that contract to this company. And so the company completed what they were told to complete. And when they sent that report to the state rejected it. And by stating you're missing items in the report, we cannot accept this document as a final housing element because you're missing A, B, C, and D. So when I came on board, I asked the state, could you please clarify what is the minimum that we need to have in order to comply with the housing element? Because the consultant sent me a request for $46,000. I don't have that money, I said. What can we do to make it in compliance? So they reduced the scope of work to the minimum so that we can become compliant.
okay, that sounds good. Based on everything that you just said, what are the terms and when will the public be able to see the final? Because you said there was a lot of revisions, so I'd like to see what actually $160,000 is going to cover.
Yes.
And, you know, so we like,
Yes.
as a constituent,
Yes.
okay, I would like to see, because it's like I pay property tax, I've been paying property taxes all my life, basically, and sales tax, because I do buy in Calexico. So my thing is, you're using my money too, so I
Yes.
like to know what it's for,
Yes.
okay?
Yes, no, that will report, so the scope of work, the additional work that they're gonna do is on one page, right next to the staff report, it's
Okay.
online. But the final report, once that we complete the final report, it has to come to the city council for them to approve it and then send it to the state.
Okay. So
And-
once you get it from the state, we get to see it?
You're gonna get to see it because it's gonna be the one that is approved by the state.
Okay.
Actually, it comes to the city council for them to approve and send it to the state.
Those were my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wong. Mr. Gerardo, you had a petition for item number 7? You're good? Okay. All right. Any discussion, motions on the floor? There's no
I have motion to approve.
motion by Ms. Romo to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, before, just one quick question. This is as a result, the housing element, because there's a law that mandates us, California law, that mandates us. And so because there was a negligence with past administrations, we didn't have a housing element, so now this is a result of that. But to be in compliance,
Yes.
we got to do this. So because there was a shortfall of monies, that's where it's coming from. So it's important that when we have a housing element, we report to the state. Now the private equity firms or private companies, now they can say, okay, what does the Calexico have to offer? We go down and build houses now in Calexico. Because we didn't have that, that's the reason why there was no housing. So that's just one step forward to not only to California, here to California, but also for people who can come here and find affordable housing in this case.
Just one more
Yes, sir.
question or comment.
Yes.
Esperanza, I know that a lot of our ability to apply for grants also it's on having a housing element.
Yes,
right?
that is correct.
So now, by having this minimum requires met, would that suffice for us to be able to continue to apply for grants? Or do we have to work on the additional components that we're going to be missing? So I want to make sure that if we make that investment, we invest to make sure that we cover all the elements or components of this housing element, so we can continue to get funding.
Yes.
We had that experience where, our funds were frozen because of not having
Yes.
all these things in place. So I just don't want to go for the bare minimum. I want to make sure that we go for the one that will satisfy and for us to give us the ability to apply for grants and keep the grants that we have. So just that comment. to keep in
Yes,
mind.
so there are three elements important that we need to keep in mind in order to bring back like first-time home buyer program. I don't know if you understand first-time home buyer loan program. So any person who wants to buy their home for the first time, there are programs available and funding available to provide those type of loans. However, the city is not eligible right now for three reasons. Number one, because we need to complete the audit that we're still working on it, that was pending since 2014. Number two, to be in compliance with the housing element. And number three, to show that we have capacity to run those programs. So those are the three elements that we need to have available in order for us to compete for the funds at the state level. So this is one of the steps. And the funding is coming from the state. Most of the funding, we only injected somewhere in the $100 and $150 at the most to become compliant. Okay,
All right.
thanks.
There's a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to item number 8. Comenzando el número 8, que es el centro de enfriamiento para las personas sin hogar. Approval of the following approved budget amendment resolution in the amount of $50,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act, downtown account for the development of a temporary cooling center, and B, authorize the city manager to enter in agreement with a nonprofit organization for the establishment of a temporary cooling center not to exceed $50,000. We do have plenty of public input on this item, so I'll just go ahead and go through the list. Mr. Gerardo, you're up first.
I'm going to the prices right after this one because I've been getting called up a lot. Just real quick, I understand cooling, heat. I've seen a lot of heat exposure, and it's good. But one of the things that I see is this. We recommended a while back, and I don't know where that report, I think Ms. Collier ever saw that report, but some of you were on the council. And we recommended as an administration, and I say administration because it was the department heads, city managers, to say that we were going to put that ARPA money to put new ACs on all your city buildings. $50,000 probably can get you 2 ACs, brand new ACs at the Carmen Durazo building, which you can use as a cooling center, or put them at the Carnegie Library, which you can use as a cooling center. My thing is you get more bang for your buck when you do it to the city, because not only are you fixing your city, but you have a place to keep them, because I think it's going to be very hard to have a nonprofit build a tent and put coolers there where it's going to be more humid. So why not invest in maybe Carnegie, since it's closer to downtown, or one of your others closer to downtown, put the ACs in there, get them going. Like we see, all of our buildings need a lot of fixing. The fire department, you saw, we let it go and how much it's cost us. The police department, same thing. I mean, the ACs, the roof leaks, the sewer, methane smell, it's terrible. I tried for years to get it done, but we didn't have the money at the time. So we have ARPA money now. If you would fix all that stuff, then you can have your nonprofits come and help you and be there to give water, to give snacks, to give everything. It's not a bad idea. It's a great idea. It's good, but I think the money-wise, it's you get more bang for your buck by putting that money, investing that money in something that you're going to be able to use. You get a new AC right now, you got 8 years for that with AC. And if not, it's like having an old car that you keep on putting money in it. That's why I wanted to buy new police cars, because it was costing me more for upkeep than it was for me just to buy new ones. So, like I said, great plan, I think, but just use the money different would be a lot better than just a one-time $50,000. You're not going to get no return on investment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gerardo. Ms. Maribel Padilla.
Maribel Padilla, 445 Southwind, El Centro. I am the co-founder of Brownback Coalition. I am here to ask the council to please go ahead and approve this plan. I work with the homeless people. I'm out on the streets. I'm out there giving them water and Gatorade. I know, you can't hear me? You can't hear me?
Just make sure to speak into the microphone.
Okay, so I'm asking that you approve this item because I work with the homeless. I'm out there. I know these people. I know the people that are dying. I honestly don't care where you put it or but that you get it done. All other councils have said that they were going to do something about it, and they never did. And I commend you for being a council that really does look out for the homeless and that you think of them, because in the past they haven't. They talk a good game, but they haven't. So, and these people that are dying, I know them. You know, I might not know all their names and stuff, but I know them because I'm with them and I'm out there. So, like I say, anywhere you want to put it, and I will help, you know, our agency will help with, like Chalo said, bring water and Gatorade. And so before any chisme goes out there, Brownback's not putting in for it. We're not going to run this cooling center. I don't have the time. I have a full-time job, but I'm willing to help whoever does. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. Ms. Hurtado, Maritza?
Before I begin, I just wanted to make sure that I know that I'm not supposed to, but I just want to anyway. I left a letter there for all of you with regard to the June 7th meeting where there was a violation of the Brown Act. And the letter that I'm giving you today is a request for cure of that violation of the Brown Act. When the council went into closed session and discussed the sale of the 352 East First Street. So the other item then that's on actually here, the discussion, is a project that as a community we feel that there's a bit of confusion, I guess. Why is it that the council at this point has to put their hands into ARPA money when this is probably like the best subject that all of you here are very into, which is homelessness? Why weren't you planning a little better? Because as far as I understand, the county has a lot of plans for every single city, and the county was there supportive towards the city of Calexico since probably about January or March. And here we are thinking that this is an emergency for us. I think it's a situation of plan of convenience of yours, given that you didn't plan well. And so it's really sad. That's basically why you're being recalled, because you have no sense of leadership, and that we have to keep going into a fund that wasn't meant for this because you didn't plan correctly. It's really sad, because apparently all of you here did not pay attention to the fact that the business owners wanted you to actually open up that downtown closure, plus to take care of some of these issues with the homeless feeding programs in downtown. But instead of doing that, you went to go look at the issues with homeless. You never talked to the downtown business owners. And downtown has two different groups of people that are there. The business owners that are struggling as well, and the same energy that all of you guys here have towards the homelessness and victims of violence or what have you. I think we're all forgetting what really pays the bills in a community like this. And the people that pay the bills are the business owners. And shame on all three of you for not helping Ali, because Ali was waiting for you guys to open up that street. He was just waiting for a simple phone call from you, and you couldn't even give him that. Shame on you.
Ms. Aguilar?
Good evening. Norma Aguilar, 839 Heber Avenue. I am one of the original co-founders of Brownback Coalition. And as Maribel stated, we have waited a long time for something like this to happen. 6 men have died. Men that Maribel and I knew personally. One man listed me as his next of kin because he didn't have
anybody else. Thank you for taking action. And this is only a limited time just to protect people from the elements. It's not permanent place, people. That's just to keep people from dying. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguilar. Ms. Morales, Blanca.
Thank you again, City Council. This is Blanca Morales, 1040 Skyline Street. On item number 8, I'd like to discuss this a little bit more. The summer heat is a health emergency for residents and visitors to Calexico, not just the homeless. We have patients that have homes and their air conditioner has been broken down. So this is in general. The council needs to collaborate with Heffernan Healthcare District, who has $5 million in the bank for a health emergency. We are paying property taxes to the district and they need to give back to the community. After all, it's a healthcare district, and like many others, they have not done any outreach, and the council needs to work together with them, okay? Collaborate with Calexico Housing Authority. They own the Mario Esquer building on the west side, which is equipped with air conditioning, kitchen, and restrooms. Money can be used to expand the library, hours on Fridays and weekends. Other cities are using libraries as cooling centers, which is what Chalo had mentioned as well. My Health nonprofit is, the clinic nonprofit is willing to do some strategic planning and outreach to many senior residents and young children who can't afford a high electricity bill, and they don't have adequate air conditioner systems, and they're unaffordable to some residents. So that's my take. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. Ms. Wong, you also had a comment for item number 8.
Good afternoon again. I just wanted to add, basically, it's like, yes, Norma and Maribel started a good project back then 8 years ago, okay? Now, it's like you're using the city money, and you know, I love them, they're my friends, but the thing is that now, why don't you use existing buildings? You know, why don't you put the air conditionings on those buildings that they were already recommended? I concur with Chalo and I concur with Blanca, because this is what we need, and we need them now. You know, those homeless people that are there, yeah, they need to go into a place. You know, we were lucky, we didn't make the choices of drugs, or we didn't make the choices of being a homeless or whatever, okay? Or our parents didn't kick us out because we did something. Okay, there's just so many things that you don't know how they got there, but they're there. But you can't concentrate on that 5%, on that 1%. You have to concentrate on everybody. We will benefit if you put the air conditioners on city buildings. Okay, my mom Chabelita would have been up here. She would have been telling you exactly what I'm telling you, because you know what? You're just thinking about, nonprofit organizations to do this and this and that. No, fix your buildings. You got to spend money on the city. You know, use the money wisely, because we need that. We need upgrades. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell you guys, because it's just like you guys are just going around in circles and nonprofit this, nonprofit that. Hey, they're doing a great job, whatever nonprofit they got. I know Brown Bag, you know, personally, but what about us? The other 85%, the other 90%, okay? We use the facilities. We go to the library. We have grandkids, okay? We have to come here to pay our bill if we don't do it online. But, you know, there's different things that we as constituents, we use these facilities, and they need to be upgraded. That's what the money should be concentrated on. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Angel de Dios, is that the correct pronoun? Yes? Okay.
Can you keep a time check just to let me know, please?
Okay, 30 seconds before.
All right, sounds perfect. First, I would like to acknowledge that we're on Kumaya land and also acknowledge that we're on indigenous land. And with that said, I am talking over for items 8 and 9. And I guess with the cooling center, I'm glad that there is a community consensus that this community center should be. However, there's a rhetoric of used by these, what they call 85%, whom is not the 85%. They are not, they're the wealthy part of the Calexico. So I want to acknowledge that first. Wealthy and respects to the city. And then I also would like to acknowledge that I suggest that can you please be quiet? Thank you. All right. I would also please suggest that in downtown, you would work it around, yes, city facilities are great, but also be strategic with your urban planning and ensure that you're also benefiting those who are using downtown, especially like me, who I crossed the border and I needed someone accessible. Sometimes, like Carnegie Mellon, the library was thrown around. Yes, that's a good place, but guess what? I'm not gonna, right when I'm getting off and going to one of the stores, whatever, I'm not gonna go all the way over there. It's practically impossible. And also, I hope that your rhetoric when it comes to this center is also, inviting of all ages and also promotes, many things. I work a lot with heat-related stuff at the state level, so I would love to, give community input. The second thing is we're also, on number 9, I also hope that this is passed as, a child of blue-collar workers and also a child, yeah.
We'll come back to number 9.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure. That's why. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Fernanda Vega.
I'm going to be looking down on my phone because my statement is on my phone. Good evening, council members and everyone in attendance. My name is Fernanda Vega, and I am sharing this statement on behalf of our Calexico-based organization, Imperial Valley Equity and Justice Coalition. We are advocates of environmental and social justice, health equity, and civic engagement. We are here to voice our full support of agenda item number 8, which recommends the approval of the allocation of funds from the American Rescue Plan Act to establish a temporary cooling center and to authorize the city manager to enter an agreement with the nonprofit organization to establish the cooling center. Between May 1st and July 19th of this year, Imperial Valley hospitals reported a total of 51 heat-related illnesses, with 7 of those community residents losing their life due to the heat. Last year, we lost a total of 27 residents to the high heat. As many of us have experienced during the summer months in our valley, we live under excessive heat warnings for most of the season. When the temperature is above 105 degrees, which is most days in July and August, the recommendation from the local public health department is to stay in air-conditioned facilities and to stay well hydrated. Unfortunately, with longer and hotter summers, many residents in our city with limited or unreliable shelter remain at high risk of death due to heat-related illnesses, most commonly heat stroke, heat exhaustion, and dehydration, vicious and fatal conditions that lead to heavy disorientation and eventual unconsciousness, further aggravating victims' chances of finding shelter and surviving. Just a couple of weeks ago, a Calexico resident lost his life in such a tragic and barbaric fashion. Best available climate science projections anticipate that these climate impacts will worsen, expand, extend, and compound. In the face of these challenges, building and strengthening community resilience requires investments in both physical and social infrastructure. Basic needs like shelter, food, water, and healthcare will become ever more essential and contested. For these reasons, we are in full support of this item. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Vega. We do have some written statements. Tenemos unos escritos. Si alguien más gusta comentar sobre los homeless, sí, right after this. Si alguien más desea comentar, levante la mano antes de señor Valencia. Okay. All right, voy a leer estos. Este es para la número 8. It comes from Luis Luna. He says, good evening. Yes? Also? Okay. If you could start filling out slips. Oh, she did? Okay, sounds good. Your name? Tylinda. Let me make sure it's here. You put ARPA monies for essential workers. That is number 9, but I'll go ahead and note number 8 as well. Number 8 is cooling center. 8? It says essential worker money, but I'll go ahead and note it as well. Who Lisa, Daniela, oh, yeah, noted, okay. All right, reading this written public comment, yes? 9? Okay, so not on this item, okay. All right, from Luis Luna, he writes, "Good evening, Mayor Ureña and council members. My name is Luis Luna, and I have a residence at 934 East 6th Street. I have been normally inactive when it comes to how the city of Calexico is run. I thank you, Mayor Ureña, and the current council for waking me up. Enough is enough. Your social activism is to be commended as long as it doesn't interfere with getting Calexico out of the dire financial mess it's in. The fact that council is looking to hand out from ARPA funds $50,000 to a nonprofit at this time is alarming to say the least. I would like to hear a clear explanation as to why, in the middle of the summer, this item is on your agenda. ARPA funds is not your piggy bank to be used for handouts for a temporary space." Mr. Attorney, the rest of this letter talks about a recall. Am I allowed to read it, or it's not on topic?
Correct. Again, comments on special meetings have to be limited to the agenda item themselves. At a regular meeting, you do have the ability under the general public comment to comment on any item.
Okay, excuse me, any outburst, and you will be escorted out of this building. Item number 8, cooling center by Mr. Cano. He says, "Just seems complicated to rent a location downtown. You will have security and major liability issues. Better path for residents of the Calexico. We have many senior citizens with air conditioning issues and limited income to pay for the electricity bill. Help our seniors first. You have the library where you can add additional hours like the City of El Centro and on weekends at the community center. Remember, we have seniors and children in this community." All right, going on to these new requests, Ms. Mendoza, adelante. Giselle Mendoza for the record. Sure. ¿Quién más levantó la mano para el 8? Valencia. Ismael put in a slip. ¿Alguien más? Número 8. Gracias.
Good evening, Mayor Ureña, Mayor Pro Tem Romo, Council, and Management. My name is Giselle Mendoza. I'm the District Representative for the Office of Senator Steve Padilla. So knowing that this item was going to be coming up on today's agenda, and after a conversation today with Mayor Pro Tem Romo, I wanted to make sure that I came out to inform you and the community of a program that could potentially assist with this situation. I would highly suggest, first and foremost, within the months to come, I believe it is coming up, or application would be opening come September. It is the Community Resilience Center program. It is a fund or a grant program that is coming out through the state that would potentially assist or could potentially assist with something in regards to what is being discussed with this item for a center that could assist during these times of need. I would highly suggest applying as a group, which could significantly impact our community and would be a great way to start building a more sustainable working cohort. The Community Resilience Center program provides funding for local facilities, planning, development, construction, and upgrades to serve as community resilience centers. These centers could offer shelter and resource during climate and other emergencies. Additionally, the program supports ongoing year-round community service and programs that enhance overall community resilience. I hope you find this information helpful. I recommend exploring these resources and considering collaboration with other community partners. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I'm more than happy to sit down and dig into this and potentially reach out to the individuals that are navigating this program. I did want to highlight a few things for you. I want to say that the program would provide The period of performance would be for 5 years, so that is a significant period of time, and there is a significant amount of funding for areas specific to ours. Again, I hope this information is helpful, and hopefully the city can look into this and consider reaching out to partners. And like I said, it is ideal to reach out to community partners to hopefully collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Excuse me.
Mendoza. Mr. Arvizo?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here in support for the cooling centers, and I'm on both sides. Honestly, I do agree that making some sort of a tent would be intuitive. Although the city does not own that many buildings downtown, I do highly recommend that there's water accessible somewhere in some way. Like maybe AC is the third tier of cooling off, but if anything, water. Other than the water fountain that's right out here at the door, does anyone know where's the closest water fountain in Calexico? A ver, Chief? Right outside of the bathroom. Are you sure it works? Sí, sí sirve, porque la última vez que yo chequé estaba más seca que un hueso. Así, like, bone dry, depressingly dry. Todos sabemos que tenemos nuestra botellita de agua coming outside the house in our car. Now imagine just waking up in the morning, breathing like warm air, and then not having a water like nearby. Just not even a drop of water. The closest water is the dirtiest river downtown, allá, Rio Nuevo. So where do you expect people to get water? To steal from hoses or to like drink from those trees that get like watered once a week? I've seen people laying down in front of a hose, like a, ¿cómo se llama? La llave de agua, like on a faucet, just laying on it. And showering in el rio next to KFC. Everywhere you can find water, people will take it, right? So why? Because Calexico doesn't have a water fountain. I know the KGs has a water fountain, but downtown is not in the KGs. So what can we do? We can fix the water fountains, but we're not doing that yet. Throwback to 2022 when we got the approval of a whole bunch of ARPA funds for the cooling center, the new restrooms, and these all like necessities are impacts of COVID. Because of our restrictions that we got during COVID, we could not reopen restrooms or turn on water fountains for some freaking reason. And the libraries are a cooling center due to, I mean, the county says that, but they don't have enough support to do that. Like, and the Carnegie Library has been closed for ya 3 años. And it's da vergüenza. Pero every single building that the city owns should be accessible for everyone. No matter if you're homeless, no matter if you're on drugs or if you're not. This water fountain and restroom should be used 24/7. But the people are not invited to use restrooms. Is this cooling center going to be invitational? Is it going to be VIP? Or what? Is it going to be everyone accessible?
And open access.
Yeah, so people think that homeless people only need water. That's just plain up dumb, right? Everyone needs water. Even if you don't like have a home, you should deserve that water. Did you know that water is a human right? If you're trying to hold water from homeless people, you're just being explained like inhumane and going against humanity. So are you on the side of humanity or are you not? Do you see people as people or do you see people as just objects, obstacles, and nasty things that you don't like? Question. Who has an AC unit here? Raise your hand. Los que no levanten la mano son porque they're against the whole thing, you know? Sorry. I'm just trying to make a little communal little tally out here. Calexico Needs Change puts a fridge.
Excuse me, please.
I'm giving a little statement.
Excuse me.
As a reminder to the council, the Calexico Needs Change has a fridge down in the Calexico Wellness Center thrift shop. Thank you, Blanca, so much for putting that fridge out for us. And we put water. We put a lot of water, and that water disappears. And you think the homeless are getting that water? Viejitas are getting that water. Every kind of person. Students. Did you know that there's so many, like hundreds of students that cross our border? Do you care about them? Do you not care about them? Do we only care about the students that are on this side? Do we only care about the ones that are thirsty, the ones that have hydro flasks, rich enough to have a hydro flask? Like, we have a lot of people dying out here. And they might not be dying, those that are not dying, but they're sure getting, like, their freaking brains dried up with no water and dehydration. So, time's up. Thank you so much. Support item 8.
Mr. Valencia, if you would like to come up, I would like to remind the public that it is under my jurisdiction as presiding officer to give the reminders. Under no circumstances should the public be in an outburst trying to regulate any public speaker. I will be doing that. Thank you. Adelante.
Hello, my name is Juan Valencia. I'm from 800 Villa Grande Street here in Calexico. I am a member of IV Equity and Justice Coalition, but I'm here to speak on what was my previous job. I worked in the city as a handyman, doing menial work outdoors for 3 years after I lost my job in San Diego because of the COVID pandemic. And I really felt compelled to come up here and say that because I am getting the feel that a lot of people in this room do not know the Calexico heat as well as some of us do. Those of us who have to labor under it, those of us who have to live under it.
Excuse me.
And this shelter, I think, is, at least in the lifetime that I've lived here in Calexico, is one of the few actually mobilized plans that I've seen to actually address all of the suffering that's going on in our streets. The fact that there's people dying and there's people in this room debating about other stuff is really concerning to me. And I have known people firsthand working outdoors as a handyman. I've known unhoused people who have died. And the way that people die under the heat is horrific. It is brutal, barbaric. It is the most inhumane way to leave somebody to die. So I am just here to commend this motion. I'm hoping that it passes because I have had to labor under that heat in a way that a lot of people here have not. I would have been dismissed probably as a loser who made bad choices by some of the people speaking here, right? Because I was out in the heat and not in an office with AC. But I'm telling you, this is a human crisis. There are people dying in our streets as we sit here debating over stuff. And that's really all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valencia. Okay, I don't believe there's any more speakers on number 8. I double check. ¿Alguien más que tenía un papel para la número 8? Anybody else who was in line for number 8? Manuel, ¿tú pusiste para el 8 o para el 9? 9, okay, sounds good. All right, discussion? Yes? Oh, or presentation first?
Yes.
And then discussion. Adelante.
Yes. For your information, at the request of Councilmember Romo, to initiate this approach, it was due because of the many deaths that we believe is, well, she believes and everybody believes is because of the heat. There's also confirmation across the border. In a matter of 10 days, 20 people died from heat exhaustion. But I also received information from the Department of Social Services about the number of people that they have received with heat illness related to the heat. So I just want to mention that with that in mind, kind of like explore the possibility of having a nonprofit organization. I immediately sent an email to several nonprofit organizations. And we received today a proposal from the Calexico Neighborhood House of Calexico with a location already to house, to have a cooling center. They will be working with individuals from 8 to 5 p.m. Monday to Sunday. This is a proposal. We're waiting for more proposals by the end of this week. Starting date will be depending on the completion of the required agreements with the City of Calexico, rental agreement with the owner of the building, 30 East 3rd Street. And if you don't mind, Ms. Gabriela, can you put the presentation and go to the last page?
Yes.
So today in the morning, I took the opportunity to go to this facility, the address that was presented here, because I received this early today. And I went and visited the location. I had a conference call with them also on Friday, and they were already looking into that possibility. They're also offering to be working with the Imperial County Behavioral Health Department, the County Health Department, clinics, the Clínicas de Salud, and other agencies to provide specific services to homeless individuals such as the brown bag services. The estimated monthly cost will depend on the air conditioning system and status and electricity bills. So I'm going to show you what the facility looks today. Can you lower the light so they can see it? So basically, a number of people are already sitting outside, sitting on the streets. And the reason why the homeless are sitting on the streets, and there's a number that is increasing, is because the men's shelter closed on June the 30th. We no longer have a shelter in Calexico. The winter shelter also closed in February of this year. So I know that Catholic Charities is June the 30th, and then Calexico Neighborhood House closed on the winter shelter in February the 28th. And so, as a city manager, I know that you have a lot of concerns. I drive throughout the streets. I walk on the streets of downtown. I see the issues. And I saw this today, early in the morning. And I realized that the building that they're talking about in this proposal is the building on the top. The gentleman is willing to rent that building at $1 a day for 3 months, just to make it available for the people to have it.
No, I'm sorry, Ms. Colio. You have been asked 4 to 5 times to control your outbursts, Ms. Hurtado. You have been given 3 warnings. Would you like to be escorted out of this building? Or will you behave for the rest of this meeting?
Yes, $1 per month.
Please escort her out.
Are you going to escort us, all of us, or what?
Just Ms. Hurtado.
What? Are you going to escort us out, or what?
Escort him as well.
Why?
We're the citizens. We're allowed to speak. We're not hurting anyone.
You are.
No, but he says.
Everybody that is yelling at council needs to be escorted out at this moment. You are not allowed to yell at council.
Quality out of point. You're out of order. We're entitled to comment. I understand that.
Yes. Okay. So, I'm not making those deals. I'm just repeating what I heard from the applicant, that they want.
Excuse me, Ms. Colio. This general lady that was also on the corner. Excuse me, you have been notified 3 to 4 times in this meeting not to have an outburst. I'm going to ask you again. Will you control yourself? Okay. It sounds like she does not want to be at this meeting, and it sounds like she will not be behaving.
No, you may not.
Excuse you?
No, you may not.
Yes.
Attorney?
I mean, okay, let's. Yeah, people can't be disruptive. People do need to be provided a warning if they are being disruptive, and they will be escorted out. Correct. That's we can't have this back and forth either. We can't have this back and forth either.
Just as a reminder to the community, I have been warning people throughout this meeting to please control your outburst. There are designated times when we're allowed to participate on the public portion of the agenda. Please control your outburst. I do not want to escort anybody out of this building, and we do need to follow protocol and procedure. Thank you.
Okay.
Adelante.
So as I was mentioning, this was presented to us today. I don't have any relationship with this company. Yes.
Señor, estamos en sesión.
Sí.
Muchas gracias.
I'm just repeating what I have this conversation with this individual. I'm not saying this is going to be the agency that is going to be selected, because the invitation was sent to several nonprofit organizations. We might receive other proposals. We don't know at this point. I just want to mention that we received this proposal today, and that I took those pictures to show me there are a number of people outside, standing outside, homeless, some of them. And I just took pictures to give you a perspective of what I saw today. There are other individuals around the town, and I think the idea of having this facility may, and I say may because, as you may know, everybody who wants to shelter is on a volunteer basis. We cannot force someone to go into any building. If they decide to continue being on the streets, they will continue being on the streets. It's not, we can't do anything to force them to get into the facility, nor is social services, nor is behavioral health. No one can force someone to go into a facility. So I just want to give you a perspective of what we have explored and the fact that we received this proposal. We also have a verbal intent to apply from San Diego State University. But we don't know at this point until we receive all the applications, and we're going to evaluate what is the best route for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Julio. Bringing it back to this council. Yes? Sure. Item number... I'll make sure to note it here on your paper. What is item number 8?
Carla Flores, and I do sit on the Calexico Housing Authority Board, and I was just in contact with our executive director. As Ms. Morales did mention, we do have the location where we have our meetings that is available for you to use free of charge. However, who's going to be manning it? We would probably have to have some of our staff attend that. We do have a big population of homeless in that section of Calexico behind where I live, and the methadone clinic is over there too. So maybe if you guys can reach out to Terry tomorrow, discuss this matter, see what we can, how we can collaborate with you guys. And we also have another one where they call the pichoneras. Inside the pichoneras, it's much smaller. However, it is a location where we can, I don't think anybody that's here doesn't want to have a cooling center like you guys have been expressing. We do want a cooling center. Every city in Imperial County has a cooling center in collaboration with the Public Health Department. You guys should all know the flyers are posted on their webpage. We've distributed throughout our senior population, and we do want a cooling center. However, we don't want to spend that money in rebuilding something that's already there.
Yes.
So that's where we're coming from. So if you can contact Terry tomorrow to discuss this, see if we can help on those two areas.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores. Ms. Flores, quick question. Does Housing Authority have any property downtown? No. Okay. Thank you.
And I just want to mention something also. It could be that we can have maybe 2 locations. I don't know. It all depends what kind of proposals we receive and the population that we see around. Like in this location, I can tell you there was a lot of people sitting outside and around those areas. But it could be like Ms. Flores mentioned, that where they have the location, if they have additional homeless in that location, there might be a possibility as well. We don't know. It all depends what the proposals come together with us, and then we'll review them.
Okay. Seeing no further comments, bring discussion to this council. If anybody has some initial thoughts, I definitely do have mine written down. ¿Alguien que quiera usar la palabra primero? Señor García, adelante.
Okay. You know, it seems that we're always working on that 11 hour. While other agencies, cities, even the county works on this way before, the heat is here. I tell you because I have been participant of those conversations and even, helping set up some of these cooling centers. If you go back to the meeting of May 3rd, as a future agenda item, I did ask for us to look into having a cooling center, right? So I know even at that time we were a little bit late because by that time the county was already ready to open. And it was mentioned that maybe we could use fire station number 1 at that time, even as we were talking about a grand opening. So I know that the point here is not that to argue whether it's needed or not. It is needed. But, I think we need to be more strategic. I like the ideas of investing this money into existing buildings to bring up, the cooling systems, HVAC systems, operating also. And yes, it shouldn't be just in one location. As far as, what exists right now, from what I've seen the last time that I checked, the cooling center that is, designated here in Calexico is the library. And we know that, it's quite a ways, from, downtown. what is proposed also about that building. How long, I mean, how much would it take to, put it up to operational standards? I mean, that's quite a bit of money also. So, and it is appreciated that someone wants to step up and help. But at this time, I think, even, it's looking to get proposals. I mean, how long is it going to take? An additional week? The heat is not going to stop for a week. We need to have solutions now, but, we need to also make sure that we partner. I don't think, we can do this ourselves. And someone said it that, usually people that are in this situation, I mean, they want to be close to their belongings. They want to be close to their pets, and even, the day center over in El Centro has stated that they come down. They have partnered with Calexico Neighborhood House also to tend to some of these needs of these individuals, offer to transport them to the day center, where they have access to a shower, to meals, for them to spend the time there, the day there, and bring them back. So we need to make sure that, we address all those issues also. It's not just about opening a place, but also having sustainability, having more of a vision, because here we are just trying to put a Band-Aid in all this issue. I mean, this issue has existed for years, and it's going to continue to exist way, way long after we are gone from this position, and way after our passion, kind of like goes out too. So we need to be very strategic in investing our little resources that we have. More of the idea that we partner with the current agencies right now, because the help is needed now. But also I want to make sure that for next year, we have this in place from day one. And the only way that we're going to have it in place is by investing in our infrastructure. And not just for the on-house individuals, but for senior citizens. Oh, who knows? I mean, some of our ACs go out, and we don't have a place to go. So, for whoever needs it. So, but we need to plan, and I don't think we're planning correctly. I think we're just driven by the need, and I get it. But we need to make sure that we partner for this to respond right now. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
If I may. Thank you. So we did receive the it's called a letter of intent. It's not a proposal. Let's get that clear, right? For me, it's always been a liability for the city. So what is an RSP? It's a legal document that describes the scope of work, and it has to be done from an organization who can operate. Has to be qualified. The process is so extensive, right? For me, why don't we extend the library hours for the Cool Center? It's already existent. It takes care of it immediately tonight. Why wait another week or 2 more weeks when the temperatures are going to get 113, 120? We're going to waste lives, right? People are going to die. Extend the hours at the library. We put that money into overtime police officer for security, and it continues it, right? And they can go over there in the meantime. That's a short-term solution. And yes, I concur with Garcia. On the long term, we should have that established already something to, because people have known here, we live in the county, in the city, but we know it gets hot in the summer. But I think preparation. So I'm also supportive. I commend Mrs. Romo for bringing this up. I know she talked to me a while back on this, and I commend her for that. We tried to do what we can with what we got. But for me, an RSP process is going to take too long. I suggest we extend the library hours while we get this thing worked out. That is the immediate solution right now. Thank you.
In a second, after the first round.
So, I wanted to actually commend Camilo Garcia for this, because I do remember, and I was going to mention that I remember that meeting when Camilo Garcia made the motion of a future agenda item for this specific thing. So, and I bring that up because somebody mentioned about like, this is because of a recall, and I was like, and I'm like, this was proposed months ago, and not even by us, it was by Camilo Garcia back then. So just want to get that straight. It's nothing to do conspiracy theory for no recall or anything like that. So I'm glad that you mentioned it up, because the history is important, and we're going to go into history in the next item. I kind of disagree with the library simply because the homeless people that we have at the moment are not traveling to the library to utilize the cooling center. I mean, the person that died recently was not at the library, ¿verdad? So I don't think that that's the immediate solution. The good thing about this item is that it not only approves the money for a temporary cooling center, but it also authorizes at the same time, so we don't have to bring this again to council, for the city manager to enter an agreement of whoever proposes the best cooling center proposal. So is that right? Just want to community inform the community that it's not going to come back to council after this is approved. If it is approved, the next thing we hear about it is when it's actually running, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Actually, we sent a request for proposals to several nonprofit organizations, and this is just came out as an intent, but also some sort of like a proposal. We are interested because they already have a location. What they don't know how to do it is put it together the numbers, what we requested, and the proposal, and the request for proposals.
Right, thank you so much. But I just wanted to clear that out for the community. With that aside, I really don't have any more comments. I mean, this is something that it's already really late for Calexico to involve in, but at least we're getting it done for this year. I will make a motion to approve, but I know that there's more comments to make, so I'm just going to end my comment there.
I'll go ahead and second your motion, but I'll...
Mr. Mayor, is the library be used for?
Yes, the cooling
Yes.
center is...
Already operational?
Yes, the Camarena Library is operational as a cooling center.
Huh?
Right, so that's what I was saying. Even if we make the fire station number 1 a cooling center, they're not going to go to that cooling center. If we make the library a cooling center, which it is, they're not going to go all the way to the library.
Okay.
So I also want to comment the following. I forward this to the police department, to the fire department, to every single department in the city. The County of Imperial on July the 20th, 11 days alone, 11 days ago, they created a program in which they had the day center in El Centro. What they're doing is they inviting the community that if you see someone on the street, invite them to go to El Centro to stay there the whole day from 8:30 to 4:30. They will provide meals, breakfast, lunch, and to-go dinner. They can take showers as well, and they have restrooms, and they can be on the room all day long. Not everybody wants to go over there because even the officers have the phone number to call. If they see someone in need, they give the number and they don't want to go anywhere. That's what it's very frustrating with this type of population to go to certain places. And that's what I think is needed, and a place to take them out of the streets. You saw the pictures. Those are not nice pictures to see. This is not a good picture to see people sitting on the streets. We want to invite them, but we don't know if this is going to prevent them from continue being on the street. I just want to make sure that if you approve it with the acknowledgement that we might have the room open and they might not want to go inside. I just want to be careful when you approve something. I don't want to be promising something that you're not going to get.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just going to put the motion on the floor to approve this item.
I'll second that motion, but we'll continue discussion. ¿Algo que decir? Para aprobar. Item number 8. El 8, los dos. Ajá. Sí.
So we're approving a motion to approve that building that you suggest, right?
No.
No?
We will continue receiving proposals all the way to
Friday?
Friday.
I will call that comment right now.
And once I review all the proposals, I will find out if we can stretch the funding maybe to 2 cooling centers, one and maybe over there when Ms. Flores is mentioning, and maybe another one over here. We don't know. Depends on what it's coming. I need prices and everything so I can do the evaluation. Whatever we can do to stretch the funding as much as possible. Okay?
¿Comentarios?
Was there additional speaker, I think, on the item, right?
There is
Okay.
a speaker pending. I still have some comments. Oh, go ahead and allow the speaker. Y ahorita comentamos. Adelante.
So here, again, great ideas and everything, but we need to put our money where it's going to benefit everyone. I've worked many times, and during the encampment, Mr. Ureña, or Mayor Ureña, you guys were there when we offered help for these people to get counseling, where to stay, where to go. A lot of people don't want to do it. Maribel said it right now. She says they're not going to go. They're not going to go. So what do we do? You're going to open up a center. Let's say, for instance, we open up a nice center, and I think 30 is a good place. The only problem is infrastructure. You're going to put money into it. The day you leave it, you can't take your ACs or anything with you. That stuff stays there.
So I'm just going
It's
to
90
clarify.
days, right? 90 days.
Yes, but I'm not putting receipts.
Okay.
Oh,
Good.
trust me, I'm not in the business of
Good.
leaving things over there. It's
Yeah.
just going to pay for services.
Services.
It's going to pay people that are going to be working over there a stipend.
Yeah.
It's not going to be for doing improvements to facilities, no.
And the problem, if you get 1-2 people, you know, 1-2 people, a life is a life. Life has no value. But at the same time, and a lot of you guys are going to get upset, especially the younger generation. I know a lot of veterans that are out there in the box right now in the heat. It's their choice, but at the same time, they don't have to be in the heat. They should be in an air conditioner. Same thing here. A lot of these people don't want to. If you go out there and you say, here, take this, you got to go with me and you'll be fed, they're going to say, no, I don't want to. I'm not going to leave my stuff here. Because their whole stuff is there. A lot of these people don't want help. They're happy with the one meal they get a day. I mean, let's be honest here. Some people don't want help. I've tried. I tried in so many. I've given turkeys to Maribel before to feed during Thanksgiving. I mean, we've all helped this cause. We were here when we set up the tents for them in the wintertime. We thought we were going to get a lot of people. Sometimes we did, sometimes we didn't. Why? They don't want to follow rules. Same thing happened to Catholic Charities. They didn't want to follow rules. They can't smell like alcohol. They can't go out and smoke. They don't want to go in there. And for people who says that we didn't work in the heat, how many here have worked the fields? How many people have worked out there? We've all worked it, and we've all taken care of it. We know that heat is bad here. We live here. We know that we got to drink water. I've seen people die more, not out in the streets. You're old people. I was sitting down remembering 3 ladies and 1 man, elderly person that didn't have money to pay their light bill. They didn't turn on the AC. The worst one was here at 5th and Giles. That lady had been gone for about 2 weeks in the summertime, and we had to go in there. And she couldn't pay the bill. See, that's the stuff I'm saying. I mean, we got to cater, or not cater, we got to help everyone. And so, like I said before, open up, why can't we open up Carmen Durazo? It's closer. It's closer. It's got restrooms. It's got water fountain. It's broken. See, let's fix the ACs, guys.
So we cannot fix our culture
That's
because
their
that's
property.
a contract from another
And
company.
Chelsea came in here and asked for money, right? Guess what? Ask Chelsea, put some money back in there, buddy.
I'll
Right.
I'll go ahead and answer those questions right now.
Okay. And like I said, you want pressure? We'll put pressure on Chelsea. I know some people there. They owe us. Thank you.
Let's go, Ms. Colio, real quick. When you do work on the document, make sure we also take care of the hygiene, right? Because we still have COVID out there, and these people have communicable diseases. You're going to put them all in one building. We have to take care about the health issue they're going to bring into the building. So we also got to be cognizant about that, okay?
Your name, sir?
My name is David Vargas. Lo voy a decir en español. Mi nombre es David Vargas. Vivo en 801 Beach Avenue por la High School. Ando en patineta por todo Calexico. Es como que es lo que hago, patinar. Trabajé en la Filco de la Tercera. Pues ya saben, ahí es donde está toda la gente. La gente no piensa en la ayuda que la gente le ofrece. Los que están ahí, los homeless, muchas veces lo toman por percibido de que ya lo tenemos, nos están ayudando, lo tenemos ahí. Pero lo que les gusta, la verdad, es pistear. Les gusta tomar. Están ahí desde las 6 de la mañana. Yo trabajé en la Filco todos los horarios. Es una tienda que no cierra. Todos los clientes, teníamos una lista de clientes, a lo mejor ustedes los conocen. Los bomberos, a lo mejor los policías, al Ramón, ¿cómo se llama? Roberto, que a cada rato se nos andan desmayando. Y pues, aún así, aunque pongan tents, me acuerdo que pusieron una por la Andrade, creo que había también aquí en este parque, ¿no? De la Quinta. No van a ir no se van a ir de ahí por estar a gusto, porque están con sus compañeros, sus amigos. Es la única gente que tienen ellos en realidad. Los que están ahí, o sea, no podemos poner tents, no serviría de nada, porque ellos lo que quieren es estar en un lugar donde puedan seguir agarrando su dinero para seguir consumiendo, porque es lo que hacen, estar con su familia, que son sus mismos compañeros, y hasta ahí. No creo que funcionaría otras tents. La librería está súper lejos. Yo en patineta hago 10 minutos. Ustedes caminando de la línea, ¿cuánto hacen? ¿25? Es como, tenemos que planearlo bien para que el dinero se quede y que siga funcionando. Nomás, y pues tratar de ayudarlos porque son los que menos tienen. Nosotros como tenemos aire acondicionado, hemos trabajado en el campo, yo también he trabajado soy técnico de aire acondicionado, sé cómo está el calor a las 4 de la tarde en un techo, pero pues yo tengo agua y yo puedo ir al 7-Eleven por una botella de agua. Ellos no, o sea, pueden, pero tienen que pedir, yo agarro mi dinero. Hay que hacerlo funcionar porque mientras más tiempo duremos, no vamos a terminar haciendo nada. Va a llegar el invierno y se nos va a olvidar de lo que estamos hablando. Entonces hay que hacerlo de ya. Ese lugar que dijo Maritza.
Esperanza.
Esperanza está súper bien porque está al lado de donde están ellos. ¿Qué más fácil? O sea, si lo ponemos más lejos, los vamos a hacer batallar y no funcionará de nada. Entonces, bueno, muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, señor. Parra. You had a final comment before we close out and have a vote?
Okay. First of all, I want to make sure that everybody understands that we are not talking about tents. There's not going to be any tents. Second, I would like to let everybody know I do not have any tents. Brown Bag Coalition does not own any tents. The tents that were put up in 2015 were bought by the city for the city. We just ran the homeless shelter there. I did not keep them. They're not mine. I don't have them in my backyard. So I need to clear that up. Second, they will not walk to the library because I have talked to them. Because every year I tell them the library is open for you. And the thing they tell me is, we are not going to the library because we are not going to sit next to little kids so they can later tell me that I did something to a little kid, and they are aware that they smell, that they're peed on and whatever. They don't want to go sit at no library on nice chairs near kids, so that will never, ever happen. They won't go there, okay? Brown Bag has told them that this day center is in El Centro. And we actually have tickets. We bought tickets to give them for the transit, but right now it's free. So when they start charging, we have the tickets to give them to take, so they can go over there during the summer. Some of them actually do go. There are some that do go, okay? But yes, there's the borrachos, there's the drug addicts, there's, people that just want to be in the streets. And no, they are not homeless and remain homeless because Brown Bag gives them a meal at night. That is ludicrous, and if you think that's why they're there, you're wrong. They're not there to get one meal a day. That's why I'm going to be homeless. So I think this proposal for this building is perfect. Now, if we were to get that building, I would be able to talk to these people more so than anybody else because they trust me. You have to get the trust from them. I've been around 8 years. They know me. So I can say, hey, you know what? Go inside for the hours and then come back outside. And so I would push that to them. But and I'm not saying there don't have to be rules, but if we're going to be like Catholic Charities and say you can't be drunk, you can't do this, then there's no point. It has to be a center where they can go in regardless in what condition they are in. Okay? So whatever proposal you go to, I will work with the homeless. I will talk to the homeless to try to get them in there. And some people are upset that there's trash in their stuff. I take them trash bags so they can pick up, and most of them do. Most of them work with me because I keep telling them, if you don't pick up your trash, the city's going to yell at me, and you're not going to get meals. So they know this, so they pick up. The homeless are not the only people that make trash. We have how many people coming through this city from Mexicali? Through this city? We have winds, yesterday's winds. Can you imagine how much trash that brought this way? But you're all gonna, well, not you all. People are gonna blame it on the homeless. The trash is the homeless. No, it's not. I invite any of you to think otherwise to come and ride with me when I go out there to deliver water and Gatorade or whatever. And ride with me. I will show you what they do and what they are. They're very respectful. They do clean up after themselves sometimes, and sometimes they don't because they're not in a capacity, because they're drunk, they're drugs, whatever. But I will help you, or the agency that takes this over, we will help them out and try to get the people into these shelters, which I think would give the opportunity to the city to take that time to clean up the streets. You know, get your, I don't know, your people that do the maintenance, buy the washers, the pressure washers, and wash while they're in that building. So that would be my recommendation to you.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. There is a motion and a second to approve. Before we vote, quisiera decir unas cuantas cosas para clarificar, que quede bastante claro ciertos hechos. Primero que nada es el tiempo de esta propuesta. Como bien dice el regidor Manzanares, Camilo trajo esta propuesta al Cabildo el 3 de mayo. Como muchas cosas, hay cosas entre medio que nomás tenemos una administradora que está tomando los cargos de 4 directores. Es una situación bastante difícil en tomar las cosas a tiempo. La verdadera emergencia empezó el 30 de junio, cuando cerraron el albergue de Catholic Charities en La Quinta y Encinas. A partir de ese día, visiblemente se vio inundado el centro de la ciudad con los homeless que estaban allí en ese albergue. Ahí inició la emergencia el 30 de junio, ¿cómo se dice?, con el cierre de ese albergue. Estamos casi al mismo tiempo, como menciona Esperanza, al condado. Ellos empezaron hace 11 días y nosotros queremos empezar lo más rápido posible. Entonces, dentro de lo que cabe, estamos a tiempo comparable con el condado de Imperial, que apenas empezó hace 11 días. Hablan mucho de la inversión en las facilidades. Justamente entre mayo y julio, ¿cuántos millones de dólares de ARPA hemos puesto en los edificios públicos? Casi 3 millones de dólares.
1.6.
2.3 millones de dólares en la estación de bombero número 1, 700,000 en la estación de bomberos número 2, 1.2 millones en total, reparar todos los techos de esta ciudad, varias unidades de aire acondicionado en mínimo 3 facilidades, incluyendo el Community Center, incluyendo, ¿cuál es otro? City Hall se le cobró también el aire acondicionado en la oficina de Gaby. Entonces, hemos invertido en las facilidades, a lo mejor no se dan cuenta, pero más de 3 millones de dólares se han metido en estos últimos meses, desde mayo, desde que se puso la propuesta hasta el día de hoy. Se han puesto millones de dólares para que no se nos caiga el techo, para que el aire acondicionado sirva para el público. Aquí vienen homeless a tomar agua, aquí vienen al baño, se nos desmayan adentro de los baños. Nos ha tocado muchos que tenemos que sacar por emergencias médicas. Entonces, todas esas son las circunstancias y las verdades de su municipio. Hemos metidole millones de dólares a todas nuestras facilidades. Gracias a Dios, la vicealcaldesa Roma pudo convencer a un propietario a donar a este proyecto para no tener que invertir dinero que la verdad ya hemos gastado en todos estos edificios. Entonces, no es tiempo convenenciero, estamos muy a la par de las otras agencias, hemos metido millones de dólares para que no se nos caigan, incluyendo $700,000 en la Camarena Library para que sirvan los baños y para que se reparara el techo. Específicamente, casi $1 millón para que no se caiga esa biblioteca se ha invertido. Todas estas inversiones de sobrevivencia no las vemos, pero allí están, ¿verdad? Entonces, ojalá para el próximo verano sí estemos más organizados. Me da mucho gusto que después de 10 años de cabildo, 10, 20, 30 años de cabildos que no hicieron nada, hoy, de manera de emergencia, está aquí y vamos a hacer algo. Se habló del Heffernan Memorial, muy cierto, es una materia de salud y se tiene que traer la atención de Heffernan porque sus fondos aplicarían. Y lo último, está bajo la jurisdicción de la administradora, pero sí trabajar con las recomendaciones de Maribel Padilla para asegurar un ambiente donde los homeless verdaderamente vayan a utilizar estos servicios, ya sea que tengamos que tener un sistema de safe needles, como se ven en otros, se ven en otras ciudades, Esperanza tendrá la autoridad de decidir todas esas cosas al aprobar estos fondos. Entonces esos son los hechos. Agradezco mucho sus comentarios y espero que este programa sea un buen inicio piloto y que crezca en un programa exitoso como no lo hay en el Valle Imperial. No hay ni un programa de homeless exitoso en todo el Valle Imperial. Yo quiero que Calexico tenga el primero que sea exitoso. No nomás que diga ofrezco agua, ofrezco esto. No, exitoso, de que tenga la confianza de los homeless, de que vayan ahí para los servicios psicológicos y que le podamos meter cada vez más y más servicios para poder verdaderamente asegurar que esas gentes se rehabiliten de las calles dentro de lo más posible. Esos son mis comentarios.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment if I can on this motion.
Yes.
I want to make sure that we're not, well, I personally don't want to believe that we're just doing a cooling center for homeless. It should be everybody in Calexico. Every woman and children, any senior citizen that have an air conditioning. This is not a homeless shelter or homeless cooling center for homeless only. I want to make sure that it's amended there, okay? We want to make sure we take care of everybody in Calexico, not just homeless.
Mr. Manzanares, would you be willing to amend your motion to make
Actually, the
It's
staff
actually- I don't need
report
to, actually,
mentions there is families that have no air conditioner.
Yeah,
It's there.
we don't need to
Because
amend
we
anything.
talk about that, we talk about homeless all the time, but we don't talk about the other people also.
Okay. Do you want to make a public comment?
My statement?
Okay, yes.
Ya, lo que decía es que quiero que quede claro, yo estoy probando este proyecto porque no quiero que sepan, que quieran, la gente crea que es un albergue nomás para refrescarse en el verano para los puros personas que no tienen hogar. Debe ser un programa para todos, mujeres, niños, senior citizens que no tienen aire acondicionado, también para ellos. No creo que sea justo nomás para los homeless, ¿ok? Que sea para todos.
Y
Gracias.
Se aclaró, el administrador aclaró que sí va a ser, está en la propuesta que sea para todos. Esperanza, would you have jurisdiction to select the hours? Like if some people need nighttime shelter, you would have the authority to
So
decide
the
what's feasible?
definition of a cooling center is daily hours, not overnight hours. The overnight hours, that's a shelter.
Okay.
So cooling center is only from 8 to maybe 6 or 7, depends, but not for night shelter.
That answers the question. Segunda pregunta, en un futuro podemos hacer una enmienda si se necesitaría de noche a esos contratos. Eso es jurisdicción del cabildo.
The
Sí.
cabildo will
Okay.
ask and then
Okay.
I will prepare something.
Sounds good, sounds good. Okay. Excelente. Adelante.
Okay. Ya saben que cuando traigo algo muy atorado, me gusta hablar español. Para los que no les gusta, pues lo siento mucho. No hay intérpretes. Y sobre todo los que salen ahí en el Facebook. No crean que no los leo. A veces los leo y me dan ganas de contestarles, obvio en inglés. Pero esta vez yo les voy a pedir mucho respeto porque veo unas señoras por ahí que tienen mucho respeto para mí, a ustedes, y veo que se están riendo cada rato. Y yo les suplico, este tema es muy delicado. Miren, esto es urgente, sí. Ya se han muerto varias personas, pero yo les voy a decir lo que está pasando. Hace unos días tuve que ir a Mexicali, me pasé a pie, tengo Sentry, rápidamente me fui a la línea y venía un muchachito como de 23, 24 años en la otra línea, ¿no? Ya ven que hay varias líneas. Y cuando ya íbamos a pasar, la CBP nos detuvo. Y el muchachito de repente, ¡pum!, se cayó. Yo he trabajado en hospitales muchísimo tiempo, no soy médico, fui casada con médico y bueno, pues todos mis compañeros médicos, enfermeras y de todo, tiene uno un poquito pues ahí, ¿no?, de experiencia. Y yo lo vi y dije, golpe de calor. Pero así, de veras, en menos de segundos. Imagínense, y casi cae en mis pies. Inmediatamente le dije a la CBP que necesitábamos pasarlo. La CBP yo creo que no había comido ese día y me gritó y me dijo, cárguelo usted si lo quiere pasar. Por Dios que así me dijo. Y el muchachito, venía otra señora que lo conoce y dijo, él es ciudadano americano. Entonces traía ahí sus documentitos, pero pues estaba convulsionando. Entonces lo que hice, estando por el lado de México, fue llamarle al jefe de policía, al señor Legaspi. Inmediatamente se movió con los muchachos, los bomberos, y llegaron a tiempo, gracias a Dios, para salvarle la vida a ese niño. Y se lo llevaron. Y ahí me quedé yo todavía pasmada, ¿no?, de haber visto eso. Luego, mi Dios sagrado, porque soy una persona de fe, me pone otro caso. Traía yo en la cabeza, había visto a las personas que estaban sufriendo en la noche, cuando pasaba, me quité los zapatos y toqué en las banquetas, y de veras, vayan 1, 2, 3, 4 de la mañana, están hirviendo las banquetas. Dije, Dios mío, ¿qué es esto? Y los veía pues mal, y rápidamente en la mañana, muy tempranito, a las 6 de la mañana me fui y vi que un señor estaba también ya a punto, yo creo que se estaba muriendo el señor. Ya había muerto otro señor, Martín. Cuando murió Martín, no sé, lo miré y me dolió mucho, fíjate. Dije, ¿qué no estamos haciendo nada? Luego me topo con este señor, Roberto, y todavía él estaba en sus cabales, le ayudamos como pudimos, y le dije, tengo todos los videos, el que quiera verlos, porque me permitieron filmar. Yo creo que vale la pena escucharlos. Ahora le tomé video a 3 con pues quisiera que los escucharan, porque yo puedo decir muchas cosas, pero si ustedes los oyen hablar, se van a dar cuenta quiénes son, ¿verdad? Tú, sobre todo que trabajaste ahí. Don Roberto, le digo, ¿qué quiere don Roberto que hagamos? Es que de veras te desarmas. Y me dice, quiero que venga la policía y me lleve a un lugar, me siento muy mal. Yo llamé otra vez al señor Legaspi, estuvo rapidísimo y vinieron los muchachos, otra vez los bomberos, le dieron los primeros auxilios, se lo llevaron. Al día siguiente me fui a verlo al hospital. Para esto yo lo estuve filmando con la única intención, y me permitieron hacerlo, a ver si yo podía llegar al corazón de la gente. Y yo les dije, ¿qué quieren que haga? Díganme lo que quieren que haga. Y me dicen, un lugar donde dormir. No podemos dormir aquí, señora Romo. Entonces dije, ok, pueden tener agua, pueden tener comida, pero no tenían un lugar para dormir. Y como les digo, está hirviendo la banqueta. Entonces hablé con unas personas, el dueño de ese edificio ni siquiera está en el país, y rápidamente habló por teléfono y dijo, les ofrezco el edificio, tiene refrigeración, es una bodega donde pueden entrar, y dijo, no solamente los homeless, pueden entrar quien lo necesite por 3 meses, y me da pena decirle que le voy a tener que cobrar $1 porque legalmente tengo que cobrar algo, ¿verdad? Ok. Aparte me dijo algo muy importante, me gustaría también, y ahí fue donde de veras otra vez me volví a quebrar, toda esa gente que está pasando de Mexicali a trabajar aquí, a veces hace 1 o 2 horas de línea. Y pues a mí me tocó, como les digo, ver cómo cayó un muchachito, ¿verdad? Eso fue lo que me motivó, y le llamé al mayor, le llamé a la señora administradora para ver si podíamos hacer algo de emergencia y obtener algo de los recursos de ARPA. Créanmelo, $50,000 no es nada para salvar vidas. Miren, no lo tomen a mal, y sobre todo los empleados, no lo tomen a mal. En menos de un día, cuando llegó ARPA, se autorizó para más de 100 empleados $7,000 para cada uno. Digo, se lo merecen, no los estoy reclamando. Nomás quiero que sepan que eso fueron $1 millón y pico de dólares, ¿sí? Entonces, decirles $50,000 con un edificio es empezar. Yo admiro mucho a la señorita Mendoza, con la que hablé hoy, porque ella tiene también un deseo de que empecemos a unirnos todos y buscar la manera de hacer algo permanente de aquí en adelante. Hoy también tuve una entrevista y hay, ¿saben cuántos homeless? También igual, digo, 2,000 homeless aquí nomás en Mexicali. Aquí nomás en Calexico yo conté, porque me fui a ver cuántos eran, 52. Son los que yo conté, a lo mejor uno se me fue o no, pero tú sabes más, Maribel, cuántos son. Y todos en las mismas circunstancias. Y dije yo, Señor mío y Dios mío, ayúdame, pero no se vuelve a morir otro homeless. Miren, no somos nada ni nadie para criticar a la gente. A mí no me importa si fue borracho o no, si fue drogadicto o no. Veo al ser humano. Si a veces vemos un perrito que se está muriendo, ¿a poco no nos da, quién sabe qué, y lo queremos ir a recoger y andamos luchando por los perros y los gatos? Qué bueno, bendito Dios, qué bueno. Pero un ser humano, miren, ahora que está don Roberto en el hospital, fui y lo miré, muy agradecido al Señor. Quiero que sepan que ese señor duró 40 años trabajando el campo para darnos de comer. Chínano, yo le pregunté, don Roberto, perdón por la pregunta, usted hágame la pregunta que quiera. ¿Por qué llegó hasta aquí? ¿Qué pasó? Me comentó una desgracia familiar. No está loco, no está mal, tiene el corazón destrozado. Son muchas cosas, señoras, señoritas. Cada ser humano trae algo. Yo también traigo, tú también traes, todos traemos. Para que la Virgen nos apoye y Dios nuestro Señor, aquí en la ciudad de Calexico, de veras, hay que demostrar la bondad y el amor a nuestro semejante. Porque de otra manera, desunidos, nunca vamos a poder hacer nada en este pueblo. Aquí estamos, doy todo lo que quieran, me retiré para poder estar aquí full time y atender a todo mundo, al que quiera. Pero yo les pido, les suplico, ¿tienen dudas de qué está pasando? Háblenme, yo les voy a explicar lo que está pasando y lo que pasó en el pasado. Yo no tengo por qué no decir la verdad. Si yo hablara, Dios, yo creo que habría muchas demandas. Pero quiero decirles que ahorita el tema son esa gente. ¿Cuál es la urgencia? En este momento es que esos señores, por lo que no estoy de acuerdo, es de que tengan un lugar donde dormir por estos 2 meses de calor o 2 meses y medio. He hablado con algunas personas, algunas organizaciones y me dicen, bueno, si Neighborhood House nada más puede trabajar de tal hora a tal hora, nosotros podemos entrarle en la noche. También hablé contigo, Danielota, que te estoy viendo. En la noche no se necesita mucho. Miren, necesitamos nada más esas cosas que se ponen en el piso, colchonetas, y estar unos 2 vigilantes, estar viendo que estén durmiendo. Hay veces que viene la gente del campo a las 3, 4 de la mañana, que se duerma 1 hora, 2, que tome un poquito de agua y luego le siga. Caray, por favor, yo les suplico que no tomen en cuenta tanto ese dinero. Miren, no es dinero del pueblo, es de ARPA, No estamos quitando nada, ningún dinero a la ciudadanía. Es de ARPA. Y además, ¿qué creen? Con la buena bendición, ahí les va. ¿Se dio cuenta Sacramento de lo que está pasando? Ya tenemos una oferta de un grant que muy pronto lo vamos a manejar. O sea que nos va a ir hasta mejor y nos van a mandar el dinero. Pero mientras tanto, hoy es probable que muera alguien. ¿Qué fue lo que pasó? Me tardé 2 días. He tardado, me desespero. Cada día que pasa, me desespero. Me tardé 2 días en que pudiera pasar esto a la agenda. Ya murió el pollo. ¿Sabías que murió el pollo?
Murió el pollo.
Ya murió el pollo, le dicen el pollo. Bueno, el señor, golpe de calor. Aquí en la, ¿cómo se llama? Porque hay diferentes lugares donde están los señores. Ahí en lo que era la ortopédica. Entonces, toda esta gente, como dijo este muchacho, se van a ese rumbo, nada más. Entonces, eso de los lugares que son para refrigerar está bien, pero trabajan de un tiempo a un tiempo y están muy retirados. El ofrecimiento que nos das, Carlita, también está muy bien, pero también está retirado. A la mejor, todos los lugares son buenos y podemos meter a la mejor gente de aquel lado, qué sé yo. Pero el grupito que yo conté, Maribel, yo me imagino tú, Norma, son de este lado. Entonces, esa gente es cierto, su familia, pues son ellos, se cuidan entre ellos. Por eso este lugar, bendito Dios, estaba estratégico. A lo mejor no nos los vuelven a prestar, pero ahorita, en este momento, si pudiéramos que esa gente se pudiera meter lo más pronto posible, no quieren lujos, nomás que esté limpio. Están los aparatos de aire acondicionado y que se metan a dormir y que no duerman en las banquetas. Eso es muy importante. De eso se trata esta emergencia. Ahora, ¿qué es una emergencia? Ya me cansé de decirlo. Me han tocado emergencias aquí en la ciudad. Esta es una emergencia, nomás que no sé por qué no la están tratando como emergencia. La emergencia es, por ejemplo, ahorita Dios no lo quiera y hay un terremoto. ¿Qué van a hacer? A mí ya me tocó y estaba de presidenta en la Calexico Unified School District. ¿Y qué tuvimos que hacer? Rápido, abrimos el gimnasio, compramos una bola de lugares donde se pudiera poner la gente. Esa es una emergencia, ustedes lo han visto hasta en las películas, ¿no? Entonces, ¿qué es una emergencia? Buscar un lugar donde esté refrigerado y que la gente no duerme en las calles, porque ese es el problema. El problema es que entre las 2 y las 5 de la mañana, que está saliendo todo el humo del piso, la gente le puede dar un golpe de calor. De hecho, se lo está dando. Y fíjense bien a qué horas se están muriendo. O sea, hay que hablar con lo de los médicos. Entonces, no discutamos más la vida de cualquier ser humano, porque no sabemos cómo vamos a parar cada uno de nosotros. Que Dios los bendiga. Gracias, Mayor.
Ya no estamos tomando comentarios al público, ya tú, breve.
Okay, just to share, because she was talking about them sleeping. So the difference is it's not a shelter, it's a
Okay,
cooling
I was just about to address that. I was just about to, yes. Gracias. Acabo de hablar con el abogado, vicealcaldesa. En pocas palabras, esto se tiene que mover como está, pero sí lo vamos a traer para enmienda para esas horas nocturnas, a lo más rápido posible. Sabemos que tenemos agendada una junta en agosto.
I think that will be a different request because now you're asking for a shelter. A cooling center is during the day only, and it closes, shut down, and they're gone. A shelter is different, and it has different requirements. So we need to explore those options too and see how feasible it is. And if someone wants to take the responsibility, cooling centers, most likely nonprofit organizations can be there during the day and take care of it. But who's going to be overnight?
Just to be brief, so it just has to be analyzed and brought back,
Yes.
right? Okay, muy bien. There's a motion to approve. There's a second by myself. All those in favor to execute A and B, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to essential worker pay. Y gracias, vicealcaldesa, por su pasión en este tema. Excuse me? Excuse me? Please, both of you. Yes, thank you. The both of you. Discussion and action on Essential Worker Relief Program guidelines funded by the American Rescue Plan Act. We do have a lot of comments. I'll let Ms. Colio briefly present on this item.
Good evening. Back in March 16, 2022, the City Council of Calexico approved a spending plan for the American Rescue Plan Act, known as ARPA, in which they allocated $1 million to be distributed among essential workers. Since then, there have been questions about what essential workers means. So what I did, and in consultation with the attorneys, is go to the U.S. Department of Treasury, the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, under the COVID-19, the ARPA funds. And they are, the definition of essential workers is those to provide premium paid for essential workers, offering additional support to those who have and will bear the greatest health risks because of their service in critical sectors. Basically what it is those individuals that for some reason they were forced to work during the pandemic and provide services to the community, services like groceries, gas, pharmacies, places that they had to continue working to provide services to the community. Because they were forced, in a sense, they are considered essential workers. And therefore, I have designed a program that would address those concerns because you already approved the funding on March 2022. Today is only the approval of the program, how the program is going to be implemented. There are different options. One of the options is, and this is my recommendation, you, the city council member, you vote for whatever you want to vote, but my recommendation, looking in the big picture, is I would like to use the money for the city to implement things that we need in the city. But because this was already approved to provide for essential workers, then I ask the following, I'm recommending the following. Use vouchers, do not give cash to people. Why using vouchers? Because you're going to kill 3 birds with 1 stone. If you provide vouchers to businesses in Calexico, you're returning that money to the businesses in Calexico. So we can have the merchants in downtown, we can have the repair of the cars, the shops, everybody, Walmart, Food for Less, El Sol Market, all those stores that they can work with us by allowing us to give vouchers to the community. When we get a voucher to the person that is eligible under this program, you're helping that individual, but you're also helping the business. And by helping the business, guess what? They produce taxes and it's coming back to the city. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. That will be my recommendation. A part of the recommendation is also, this funding is only available for the citizens of Calexico, the residents of Calexico. And they will have to prove the following. They will have to prove us with information about the residency, meaning water, electricity, or gas bills, as a proof that they live in Calexico, personal identification that matches that address, a complete application, and a pay stub that demonstrates that that applicant worked during the pandemic, the high peak of the pandemic, which is March 17, 2022 to November 8, 2021, which is the date in which the border opened again. So those are the limitations that I think, in my opinion, as an administrator, we should be asking for that information to ensure that those residents in Calexico are the ones that are going to benefit from this program. because this funding was allocated for the city of Calexico and the residents. So I think that's what I would like to see now. As a second option, you have to provide cash. The issues that I have with cash is they're going to spend the money, nothing against the other cities, but they might go to El Centro, the shopping center, they might go to Brole, they might go to Imperial, they might go Mexicali. And that money is gone. That's just my point of view. So we want the money to stay in Calexico because Calexico needs it. Number two, when you're giving cash, one of the things about vouchers, you limit the use of the vouchers to no alcohol and no tobacco. So that you place those limits so that people can only purchase, like, they can go to the shop and they can get the tires done. Maybe they can go to a restaurant and eat. Maybe they can go to Walmart and buy articles for the family, for the house, but no tobacco and no alcohol. That's a limitation. Number two, if you were when you give cash, you have to request a W-9 form. A W-9 form provides an identification number from the individual to come and provide us, so that we can provide a check to that individual. It's a lot of work to do the W-9 form. And if you exceed the assistance to $600, we have to report it to IRS. So all of those that are getting $500 or $600 will have to submit those into the report to the IRS. It's pros and cons. Some people that like to spend the money the way that they want it, I get it. But as an administrator, I think it's in the best interest of the city to keep the money as much as we can within the city of Calexico, because this funding was set aside for the city of Calexico. And so you have all those options. I know that I failed to do more details on the program. I literally was rushing to put it together. On the website, you have the Spanish version as well of the program and detailed the explanation. There are some limitations. I'm also asking for $75,000 to set aside, because if you do the numbers, so let's say that you give a voucher for $500. Out of the $1 million, you take $75,000. The rest of the funding will make people eligible, 1,800 people eligible for this program. I can't do the work myself. I need help. So I'm asking for two temporary workers that I can train them to fill the application and to help to distribute those vouchers. We can set up a table on the rotunda so that people can come and be in the fresh area and then submit the applications. Those individuals will help that individual to submit the application and get all the paperwork. Once the application is complete, we process the vouchers. We will provide with options. What do you want your voucher from? I want it from Walmart. I want it from Food for Less. I want it from the Sol Market. They're going to tell us where they want it, but it has to be in the city of Calexico. That's just a recommendation. Also, there will be families, more than one family living in a house. I'm also recommending that we limit 2 vouchers per household, 1 for each family, eligible family. So if you have 2 families, mother and father and son and wife with the kids, and if they both work during the pandemic, they each one of them get a voucher. But it has to prove that they live in that property. Because if we don't do that limit, we're going to have 5 members in one house requesting vouchers. This is unfair for the rest of the people. So we want to spread the funding as much as we can among the community. The other thing is, I think that was it for me. And it has to be 18 years and above. Yes.
In case a worker has died.
If they die.
Alguien que haya muerto.
If the wife is alive and the wife was not working, but she can prove that her husband worked and got infected by COVID, that's more to my case. They deserve to have the payment. But they have to prove us that that person worked during the pandemic, and there's couples, so that can be eligible for them.
Yeah, we'd have to look at whether if they pass, if they have an estate. I mean, there's some technical and one thing that
Yes.
somebody passed. So generally, if there's an estate, I mean, so we'd have to look at that, not because just because the law has some requirements on it,
Yes.
unfortunately.
Of course.
So
Yes.
There is a pathway.
That,
potentially depends on the estate is open or not and the like.
Yes.
It just, I know there were some legal hurdles we needed. Every case would be different, but potentially they could.
Could we authorize the city manager to take care of those things?
Oh yeah, that's a matter of that's just the way every situation would be different whether or not the family could
get the check.
Correct.
yes.
All right. That's the agenda item. We do have a lot of public comments on this item as well. We'll start with Mr. Arvizo. Ismael.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm in support of this because there's a lot of people that live in Calexico that live check by check. Literally, I know a lot of people friends that this 500 might not be a lot for some people, but these people that need it will see it as a lot. People that are close to being behind on rent, and there may be a car crash just away from being homeless, or just simply having the luxury to actually, get that money you deserve because you're an essential worker. Every essential worker deserves more money than they already have. So, and those that feel like those essential workers don't need that money, don't know the struggle, just straight up. So I highly advise you guys do this because this will just show how much ARPA is flexible and used. You can make restrooms, you can make a whole cooling center, you can pay staff of the city and also the citizens of the city. Because why? Because that's what COVID impacted. It impacted every single one of us. And we wish we could give everyone thousands of dollars, right? But 500 is definitely a nice middle ground where you can invest in yourself, you can invest in things you need to invest in, or simply just keep it in the bank and save it up. So, and those essential workers will be the ones getting the first pay, because it's not going to be those that don't need it. It's not going to be those that didn't work, because I know a lot of people don't like people that work. So I highly advise that you guys approve of this and just show that this community is trying to help those people that need it. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wong? Good evening. Buenas noches.
Basically, it's just clarification. You have to be a resident, you have to show one of your bills or pay stuff. What were the dates again? From what period of time?
It's going to be March 17, 2020. I'm sorry. There was a typo. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's why.
Yes, it's a typo. It's 2020 to November 8, 2021. So March 17, 2020 is when the governor declared the emergency. And November 8, 2021 is when the border finally opened.
Okay, so we're going by the border. Okay. Now, the reason I'm asking is because I have two people that I know. One's my son and one's his girlfriend. And
Yes.
they both were essential workers and they will apply for this,
Okay.
But that's what I wanted. You clarified my question. I wanted to know what was an essential worker, and basically it's a Calexico resident.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. De Dios? Thank you, Ms. Wong.
I just want to say it's very beautiful to see that there's a lot of people in support of this and acknowledging how essential workers were during the pandemic. My dad was an essential worker, and the impact was really severe. My mom was in the ICU bed. I remember just being a caller, and she could not even talk to me. So I'm pretty sure I hope this passes. And not only am I emphasizing this, but I think I'm emphasizing this as the kid of, these two blue-collar workers, of my mom who, grew up between Calexico and Mexicali, our border community. And I think, again, I just want to bring up concerns and things that we should also acknowledge while we're kind of setting up this bill, or having this kind of pavement. And I absolutely love the idea that we can help out Calexico businesses. However, when it comes to a lot of low income or, folks who are in the very low threshold, it is practically impossible for them to also survive in Calexico's kind of state. And what this means is, it's very obvious here, like everyone knows here, you can go to Mexicali to get easily just like go to the doctor there or so forth. And that happens, and that's a real harsh reality. That's something that we should consider because COVID impacted that things. And if we're talking about survival and we want folks to keep kind of surviving, that is something that we should consider. And also just kind of understanding, if this is going to limit to only Calexico residents, or is it going to be limiting to Calexico employees that brought in money, however, lived over there. Because, I know that, is it Calexico, it's just Calexico residents? So I think, at the end of the day, I don't know how much limitation there is, but this is like another consideration. I know many folks who live from other cities, and maybe that's a limitation that it exists, but it is something to acknowledge and work with. Many farmers work there, and many folks come. And I met many individuals, actually, when I was going to San Diego, near Cajon, I met a girl who said, oh yeah, I live in Calexico, but, I'm an employee here, and I get, bring money here, I do my labor here. So very interesting, and it's just like, again, to acknowledge those things. And acknowledge what we mean by a border community, and whether this be vouchers that are specific, you have the option of a voucher, or incentivize to work with businesses, incentivize, how could we help and keep this money in Calexico, but also give them the liberty to be able to express and use their money, very strategically, however they seem fit. Because I know for myself, and I'm gonna be honest, my teeth, a lot of my health issues were done in Mexicali. A lot of my food came from Mexicali, and that's the sad truth. But you can't limit very, very low-income families who are struggling to survive. You're just kind of putting a limitation. So it's something to be considered. But again, very happy, and I hope this is supported. And I know that, when I was talking to my dad about it, a blue-collar worker, he was excited, and I know this is going to very much be an amazing thing for essential workers who did so much for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Leo. Ms. Tailinda? Señorita Tailinda, adelante.
I don't know what's going to cause right now, so please bear with me, okay? Good evening, all of you, and good evening, my citizens of Calexico. I was a little worried when you were talking about the money of essential workers, because I saw you on 2nd Street giving flyers out to people off the street that you were going to give them $500 because they were essential workers. So that kind of worried me, okay?
Excuse me, who was that outburst from?
That was a little worrisome, because these were my thoughts. But after listening to Ms. Colio, there was a little difference coming in there, because I said, oh, you're coming to light to save Calexico, thank you, to give your idea a good one, okay? But my idea is the pandemic finished. There's no more pandemic, there's no more emergency. And a lot of people were lucky to receive money from the government, all the surplus money that was given to them. So, then I thought, Raul, how will the money you are giving away benefit the city? That was my idea when I saw you giving the banners away. Then I said, we're a municipality, okay? The money is intended to benefit the city and improve the city, because the pandemic is gone. Thank God, thank God. There's nobody suffering hungers or anything. You cannot say that the money will be injected into our local economy when we are a border city, and you cannot guarantee that those $500 won't be used in our city. The city is falling apart. It's really sad. Our streets are falling apart, our buildings, the morale of the employees in the city of Calexico, everything is falling apart. Then I'm going to be a little facetious here, a little mean, so forgive me, okay? I'm sorry. I really am. I beg to you. In economics, papelito, diploma, means nothing when it's just a piece of paper with no actual experience. I'm sorry, okay? I don't want to be mean. I swear to God, I swear, okay? You have been sitting on the council for 3 years, and you're taking credit for a lot of projects that were old projects. You must give $500 to your proclaimed essential workers. Go give away $500 gift cards. Or give those $500 as credit towards the citizens' water bills to keep them afloat. Or you're talking about people, residents that their ACs are broken. Well, help them to get their ACs fixed. The retired and the older people, help them with the monies of Calexico so that the monies don't go other places. We all see, this is another one. I'm sorry, but we all have 3 minutes, okay?
We have around 30.
I have a disability. Okay, I have a disability. I have a disability.
Ms.
So-
Linda, before we continue, I do have you at 3:30.
Okay.
I'm going to give you more time. How much more time do you need for your disability?
Okay,
I really need to know.
you can use, I'll be 1 minute and a half.
1 minute? Okay. Sounds good.
You can use
have
that
1 minute.
money to invest in employee morale. You can use that money to clean up downtown. You can use that money for small businesses so that our tax revenue keeps on to help Calexico's revenue here in the city of Calexico, the city hall. You can use that money in ways that will have a tangible benefit in our community. Say, well, like I said, give it to the senior citizens who can't afford repairs. So, another thing, sometimes coming forward to the citizens would change policies all of a sudden, a new face. We're not really fooled about it, I'm sorry.
We are at
Just-
4
just-
minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay,
so-
just help Calexico and invest that money in Calexico where it stays here. And the papelitos that you were giving out to random people in the street, they're not from here. You know, they were crossing to Mexicali. So let's keep our money here in Calexico. Thank you
Ms.
very
Aylinda.
much.
Mr. Valencia, Juan? Mr. Valencia, do you need any extra time or accommodations?
No.
No, you're good, 3 minutes.
Good evening, council members and everyone in attendance. My name is Juan Valencia. I'm a resident of Calexico, and I'm sharing a statement on behalf of our Calexico-based organization, Imperial Valley Equity and Justice Coalition. We are advocates for environmental and social justice, health equity, and civic engagement. We are here in full support of agenda item number 9, which recommends the adoption of option number 2, distribution of a $500 check to establish the Calexico Essential Workers Relief Program guidelines with American Rescue Plan Act funds. As we speak before you today, we stand as the deadliest county due to COVID-19 deaths out of all 58 counties in California. A local public health assessment found that in 2020, COVID-19 was the leading cause of death in our county. In Calexico specifically, we had 16,000 COVID-19 cases, and we have lost 303 of our friends, family members, and neighbors to this disease. With the global shutdown and quarantining we experienced under emergency public health orders in 2020 and 2021, we relied on essential workers to ensure we had food stocked on our grocery stores. We relied on health professionals to provide crucial medical assistance to the thousands affected by the disease. We relied on bus drivers to help us get around, and we relied on delivery service workers to tackle the massive spike in online shopping that occurred while we all safely stayed at home. Moreover, retail and food industry workers, as well as those working as cashiers, field workers, and healthcare workers, never stopped working throughout the pandemic. The research is clear. Essential workers put their lives and the lives of their families at risk when there were COVID-19 outbreaks at work in order to ensure our community stayed running. We're talking about keeping up Calexico. Essential workers already did that for us. COVID-19 deaths in California suggest they were highest among workers in agriculture, warehousing, and construction, with elevated deaths among retail and custodial workers too. Additionally, there are economic and long-term health consequences that essential workers face due to having been in the front lines even before the COVID-19 vaccines were made available to them. Now, however, with the incredible opportunity at hand of actually being able to provide much needed financial assistance directly to our community members, we believe Calexico City Council members must stand behind their expressed commitment to use COVID-19 rescue funds for programs that directly address the public health and economic ramifications of the pandemic. City workers already received their bonus pay due to their role in the front lines and were free to spend it as they wished. So now we need to ensure that the same bonus pay is made available for all other essential workers in Calexico who have rightfully earned this money with their hard work. In these talks of where this money will be invested, need I remind that essential workers earned this reward by facing death with their labor. Yes, there is no pandemic anymore, but the waste and death remains with the people, with their families, and their individual financial needs. So we are encouraged by this agenda item that takes important steps to provide clear guidelines for ensuring that essential workers receive the $500 bonus pay cash payment. We urge this council to approve this important item. Thank you.
I can't read the first name, but una señora Hernández, Miss Hernández. Hernández es Liliana, I believe, Hernández. 339 Rand B, Calexico. She must have left. Last call for Miss Hernández. Miss Noricumbo, Diana. Buenas tardes, buenas noches.
Good evening. First of all, since this is my turn to speak, I would like to let you know that my right as a citizen to exercise my civic duty to ensure that public funds are used appropriately should not be tampered with, and your attempt to try to dismiss me a couple of hours ago, actually.
Ms. Noricumbo,
no, it's my time to speak,
Ms. Noricumbo,
okay?
you have to stay
and
on
I
the
will say
topic.
that.
You
And
have to
I
stay on
have
the
the
topic.
topic, but I will say that because
You
it's
have
my
to
turn
stay
to
on the
speak,
topic.
okay?
Stay on the topic.
Okay? So, going back to this item. I will say that I live at 1068 Via Barranca, Calexico. I've been a citizen of Calexico for over 35 years. I'm the daughter of farm workers, and I'm also a United States Marine Corps veteran, and I'm a local business owner. And I will tell you this. I worked in the county for 7-8 years, and part of my duties in the county was to submit the agenda items to the Board of Supervisors. And when I did so, I would have to submit, they wouldn't receive an agenda item without any backup or supporting information. So the item here states, discussion action of essential worker relief program guidelines. I am yet to see any guidelines. There's no guidelines behind this agenda. There are no guidelines on the agenda on the website. And what I heard right now is just a plan, because guidelines are written. Okay, then you should have put those out, okay? Yeah.
They're out there.
Yeah, okay. So that's number one. So by that, I request that you table this item because these aren't guidelines, okay? Second of all, oh, you didn't see that? So you don't stop that? Yeah.
He's offering
Okay,
you what you're requesting.
so then, second of all, I would also like to say that the city manager mentioned that you guys allotted $1 million for this. Was it in April of 2022?
16 months ago.
16 months
16,
ago. So how is this
2022.
an emergency today? Why wasn't it an emergency 16 months ago?
No, so let me clarify about the emergency. There were 2 items in the agenda that were emergency items only. But because we were having the meeting, we took the opportunity to inject the other items that were still pending, because otherwise we will go to the end of September. It's the same expense that we have in putting together this meeting, so I just injected The other items, might as well, since now we're having the meeting, it's not that they were an emergency items. It was just the opportunity for us to bring those items to the city council because it was already a need for an emergency meeting.
Okay, well, it's very opportune that it's being done while the full force recall is going on. But I also want to say that I also read in the Calexico Chronicle 3 weeks ago, precisely, you went public and said that you would like to use those ARPA funds for the parks, because the parks were dark and you yourself saw families there. You were so worried about them and there was a lot of criminal activity going on there. So why this sudden change of heart?
Mr. Manzanares, you can answer at the discussion. No, not right now.
I'll answer it later.
But
Okay, that's fine. You can answer it afterwards. So I'm just going to say this because I'm going to invoke my civic duty. I mean, I'm going to exercise my civic duty. I've already filed a report with the state, and I will be filing a report with the U.S. Government Accountability Office should you improperly use these funds, as in to buy a little bit of popularity with the citizens because you're undergoing a recall. Thank you.
I invite you to stay for my comment. I will respond to that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Noricumbo. Señora Carla Flores, adelante.
Good evening again, Carla Flores. I am here in regards to this funding, and I know it's been talked about in the past, and it was voted, although when the city manager had presented that budget, this council, or council, half of this council and prior other council members vote for the B plan, right? That was what it was, right? Anyways, I disagree in giving $500 to essential workers because I never stopped working. I worked from day one and I'm still working. And I was going into convalescent homes. I was going into residential care facilities. I was feeding the senior population. And I kept working whether I was sick or not, okay? Many people that I know that worked during the pandemic, of course, city employees ended up getting a bonus. Many people stopped working because their employers closed their doors because they couldn't. Others worked part-time. So what happened to those employees that worked part-time? They still got some money from the government. Why are we double dipping when they already got some money? I have friends that were receiving more money in a month than what I was doing. How is that these individuals here say that these people deserve those $500? How many people do we have in Calexico? If you really take the calculations, you're only going to give 2,000 citizens of Calexico $500. How are you going to determine that? I have neighbors that rent their homes for a power bill, for an IID bill, for a gas bill. How are you going to actually determine that these individuals live there? To me, that's my problem. What you guys want to do, I think there just needs to be more time to strategize this because there's going to be people coming from everywhere requesting those $500. And believe me, I will be one of them requesting them because I am a citizen of Calexico. If you're just going to give it to just anybody, but that's not the point. I don't need it. The city of Calexico needs it. Allocate those money back into the city as to where Ms. Golio said she would rather do something else with that money. Listen to your city manager. She's our administrator. She's the one that knows what is needed and what is not. I don't agree that you guys want to give $500 because I just feel that anybody and anyone is going to come and apply for that. And there's going to be no accountability as to where these people, these individuals are coming from. Again, that's my point of view, and I really hope that you consider this. Think about it. Don't rush it. Talk about it because putting it on this agenda because you guys are going to go dark in August. Who cares? Who cares if you guys bring it back in September? Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's been happening. I mean, we're all fine, we're all working, we're all, everybody's here in this meeting. I don't get it. Why the rush?
We are passing 3.5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Flores.
I just want to make a quick comment. The request was made several months before. I just fell behind because I don't have the people to help me to put it together, the guidelines. So it's been asked like 3 times at least on the city council. And so I apologize. I don't have the staff available to help me. Everything that you see, I put it together. The one thing also I want to mention, I was working with the county for 18 years. The county gave us $1,000 to all the workers in Imperial County. The city also gave $7,000 to all the employees. And so I understand both sides of the situation. I'm not a voting person. I know that it was voted 4-1, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 4-1. My job as administrator is to give recommendations. I might be getting in trouble for saying I don't want to spend the money and giving out the money away, but that's essentially what I would like to do if you ask me, because we have so many needs. But it's not up to me because I'm not an elected official. I'm just an administrator. They are the ones that are elected by the residents of Calexico to represent you and to make decisions on your behalf.
Thank you, Ms. Collier.
One point of order. Can we vote on 9:40?
Yes, let's take that.
I'll make a motion to continue the meeting after past 9:30.
Okay, is there a second? Second, Ms. Romo. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. To extend the meeting hours because we're at 9:30. Mr. Solano Jesús. Jesús, adelante. Gracias por esperar pacientemente.
Solano is like,
No. Hay muchos Jesúses. Adelante, señor.
Good evening. My name's Jesus Solano, 426 Rosemont. I'm here with a request that this council should really invest this money in parks, okay? This way, the whole city, the whole community would, participate in it. My request is you get some coaches involved, get the youth involved, if some one of you want to get involved, start some communications, get the community involved, get the input, get the participation from within the community. Start drafting, okay, a plan, okay, and go from there, okay. There's no urgency. What's the deadline for the funding?
We'll give it to you.
Okay.
After your public comment, we'll let you know, because there is one for this
I don't
year.
think, we have more than a year.
Yes.
I believe.
24,
Okay.
yes.
So honestly, within a year, I think, that we are going to be able to have an engineer
Hopefully.
within the city operating, okay? Then go from there, okay? That way, you need to start thinking in the future, the young kids, okay? Invest in them, okay? They are the future for Calexico, okay? Don't do a disservice to our youth, okay? I really appreciate if you take that into consideration and postpone this, table it. Get further input from the community. Get them involved, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solano. We have two more public comments, or one more public comment and one written one, or two written ones, sorry. Last spoken one is Mr. Manuel Reyes. Adelante. I know everybody has been waiting very patiently, and I appreciate la paciencia, señor Solano.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Manuel Reyes. I live here in Calexico, 1130 2nd Street. I'm an organizer with the San Diego and Imperial Counties Labor Council. We represent over 136 unions and over 200,000 working families here in San Diego County and Imperial County as well. The Labor Council is here to support item agenda number 9, and we ask the city of Calexico to please approve agenda item number 9 with option number 2, which will benefit our essential workers that we represent at the Labor Council, especially workers who work during the pandemic, risking their lives. We believe that workers should have the right to spend their money the way they want and the way they need it. And they exposed themselves during COVID. They exposed their lives. Some of them even lost their lives, unfortunately. So we ask you to please approve item number 9 with option number 2. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Últimos dos escritos, last two. Primero viene del señor Cano. He says, for a better quality of life for both hardworking employees of the City of Calexico and residents who need services, install or fix air conditioners in municipal buildings, which include the Community Center, Hotel de Anza, Cultural Center, and our other city buildings. This $500 is a bad idea, and it is self-serving for council people. From Kenny Prada, we have a representation from UFCW, which is, I believe, Grocery Workers Union, Local 1167. He says, good afternoon, Mayor Ureña and members of the City Council. My name is Kenny Parada, and I'm a union representative for UFCW Local 1167. We represent over 20,000 members in the counties of Imperial, Riverside, and San Bernardino. And nationwide, our union represents 1.3 million members. Our members work in grocery and retail pharmacy stores, warehouses and manufacturing facilities, doctor's offices, and in the cannabis industry. I am writing this public comment in support of item number 9, discussion action of Essential Worker Relief Program guidelines funded with American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds. While many workers were asked to stay home during the COVID-19 pandemic, our members had to go to work every single day to make sure our communities had access to food, medicine, and other essential items. Many of them got sick, and consequently, their families also got sick. The pandemic taught us how essential our grocery and pharmacy clerks are to the overall well-being of our community. Our members were essential workers during the pandemic and continue to be essential. We applaud the City Council for looking after the essential workers in the city. We are in full support of item number 9 with option number 2. I want to thank city's leadership for keeping our community in mind. We are also ready to assist the city with this program if needed. I also ask that if you share this comment with the entire City Council and it be read out loud during public comment. Thank you, Kenny Parada. Do we have another public comment? Sure. What is their name? We have un último comentario por Zoom y ya me llegamos a la casita. Sure. Adelante, Ashley. Falta uno.
¿Me pueden oír?
Sí. Adelante.
Can you hear me?
Sí.
Can you hear me?
Adelante, Ashley.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ashley, we can hear you.
Okay. Mi mamá was a frontline worker during the pandemic. She's been a cashier for the past 10 years in 7-Eleven y ahora en Felco y ahora como manager de la gasolinera. She has a lot of input. Desgraciadamente, porque regresa cansada del trabajo, she can't comment right now, but I would like to share my experience. Por estar trabajando durante la pandemia, mi mamá nos contagió a mí y a mi familia y tuve que ausentarme de mis estudios el último trimestre. Y mi mamá, aún enferma de COVID, continuó trabajando desde casa usando mi computadora, enferma. Tengo seres queridos quienes durante la pandemia no dejaron de trabajar en el campo con riesgo de contagio y continuaron trabajando. Calexico, el Valle Imperial, fue uno de los condados más afectados porque nuestra comunidad está hecha de essential workers. Creo que no está en el concilio dirigir cómo se usa el dinero, porque las necesidades de cada familiar es diferente con respecto a los vouchers. Quiero recordarle, no sé cómo se llama, pero la señora de azul que acaba de hablar, que este voucher o estos $500 es un pago atrasado a lo que nuestros familiares necesitaban en el momento de la pandemia. Independientemente si la pandemia ya acabó, esto solamente es algo pequeño que nuestros familiares necesitaban en el momento. Las personas que dicen que no necesitan este dinero refleja quiénes son las familiares low income, con miembros intergeneracionales, o sea, abuelitas, mamás, papás, bajo un mismo techo. Ellos son los que se beneficiaron de esto. This is not just giving money away, es invertir en la misma gente que vive en la ciudad de Calexico. Y me gustaría retar al concilio a que considere que pueda haber más de un essential worker por familia y cada una de esas personas merecen ser compensadas por su labor, no nomás $500 to the head household. And that's it. Thank you.
Gracias, Ashley. Okay, compañeros, ¿alguien gusta la palabra? Anyone want to speak first? I know Mr. Manzanares had run some amendments through the city manager. I don't know if you would like to discuss those. Anybody would like to discuss?
No, just one observation real quick. So this is for our city manager. We're gonna vote on this, but it's for you to develop a program, right? A methodology how we're gonna issue this, and then bring it back, right?
Well, technically, if you approve the options that I'm presenting, that will constitute the guidelines. That's how it's going to be implemented. That's why you have the options over here in front of you, and I just want to put it in writing, and that's going to be the ones.
But we don't know.
If you want them to bring it back.
No, I'm asking because there's a lot of going on here because we want to make sure we already voted on it. We appropriate that money.
Yes.
We already did that.
Yes.
Fine. But I want to know, me personally, what's the methodology? What's all the stuff we talked about? I don't think the consensus of the community is that we don't want to help people. That's fine. It's how, who, and where, and how. How are they going to qualify? That's the thing.
So this is what I was envisioning to be able to implement this program. Since you asked for this program, right, to be implemented. Depending on what you approve today, the options, then that's the pattern that we're going to follow. We're going to develop flyers inviting the community to participate in the program. It's on a first come, first serve. It's written over here. Until the funds goes away, until we exhaust the funds. Whatever changes you want to make, we're going to put it in writing, and then we're going to put it together.
Let me help you, Ms. Colio. I'll make a motion to approve this, but with the motion to implement a mechanism that allows transparency, equity for everybody.
What?
And we know who the essential workers are, right? Especially because if we're going to get money, that voucher, I agree with that, 110%. Because it goes back to the community. As long as we have that, right? It's not a carte blanche. That's what I'm gonna in agreement with that. That's the motion I make, and I think that's what the citizens want, is that the money stays here through a voucher program.
Yes. So one of the things that I mentioned in the staff report is those who worked during the pandemic in stores or any other sectors, which I had to amend later on about the sectors. Basically, every business that was open during the pandemic and they were forcing the workers to work and they are residents of Calexico, those are going to be the ones that are eligible and that they can provide the documentation. We have a checklist, and the website there is a checklist of all the documents that they need to submit. There's also an application. The application, which I forgot to mention, there is a bottom part that says no person related to city council can apply for the funds. No person related to the city manager can apply for the funds. And no person, so let's say I have finance department, the director of finance department, and one accountant doing all the checks, their family members cannot apply. And the 2 persons that we're going to hire to implement the program, they cannot apply, or their families cannot apply.
Right.
What about city employees? Can they apply?
I don't think so. I don't. The program is meant for they already received the $7,000.
Right.
So,
I'm asking this because if we approve this as it is right now, they are eligible because there is
yes.
no language that
no,
says.
so we'll make the amendments as you request. And I got the comment that you made. So if someone received already monies from the cities, then those individuals are not going to be eligible.
And this is why I say bring something back to us so we can tell
Yes.
these people here what's
Yes.
that going to be the process. Who now also I allude to this is what about those self gardeners, right? There's lots of people out there who are self-employed who cut grass. What about them? And then here's the other thing also. We had an employee passed away. An employee passed away during a comeback. He worked in the city hall, and he was an employee, never got money. What about him? And he died during the pandemic. He never received the money. So I'm just saying a mechanism that's transparent, equity for everybody. So these people, the citizens, can know this is the people that qualify. Are you okay with that? That's all. A mechanism. Like bring something back for that. I mean, approve it with this, with a caveat, right? Bring something back.
I wasn't aware someone died, so I'm just saying. Okay, I'll take that.
And there are some of the gaps that will probably be asked. The treasurer has provided guidelines as to what, what are eligible workers, and there's some guidance
Yeah.
that by law we have to follow. in
Right,
terms
and I
of
think
what
that's
qualifies.
okay. We're okay with that, but the citizens don't.
Correct.
It's not clear to them. That's what we hear from them.
Correct. No, exactly. 'Cause
Yeah, I
there's
want to
a-
make sure you're okay with what we're choosing.
And
up
different
here.
cases, there's a lot of different
And
cases.
present that and approval.
And,
right?
and the reason I'm bringing these options to you is because I have from different council members different ideas.
Sure.
Like I said before, if you ask me, I don't want to spend the money this way, but you are the city council members and you're going to make that decision. You have to provide me guidance so that I can develop what you want to approve.
And this we don't have anything, so we should be working with you and bring it back.
And that's what
Right.
but if you give me some of the ideas now on what is presented as an
Okay, well,
options.
he mentioned one, I mentioned like 3. Yeah, I'm sure we all have those.
Excuse me, excuse me, no outburst. Please escort yourself out, please. Please escort yourself out. If you are going to continue this. Thank you. Escort yourself out, please.
So I'd like to speak on this because Mr. Moreno did bring up several points that are valid y lo voy a decir en español. Pero como ya saben que me encanta la historia, déjenme les cuento una pequeña historia. En el año 2020, el concilio que estaba aquí, y que aquí estoy mirando varios concejales, que se durmieron en esta encuesta, no, aquí miro una todavía. En el año 2020, el gobierno de California dio el poder a los gobiernos locales para evitar que la gente que renta en esta ciudad sea desalojada. No movieron un dedo, un dedo. El Estado tuvo que venir y decir, como no movieron un dedo, nosotros vamos a poner esta proposición a la fuerza, ¿verdad? Aquí hay unos que estaban aquí, ustedes muy bien se acordarán de eso, que le ignoraron, pero yo no me acuerdo, porque yo estaba ahí sentado gritándoles que la aceptaran. Ese es un crimen contra la gente pobre. Porque los clasistas, porque la gente que tiene casa ya estaba protegida, ¿verdad? Ahora, vámonos al marzo 8 del 2021. Concejal Ureña acababa de entrar al concilio, apenas tenía 3 meses y medio, y trajo una propuesta que hubiera evitado todo esto. Y esa propuesta era la ordenanza del pago para héroes. Esa ordenanza, traída por ahora, traída por el alcalde Ureña, era incrementar la paga de los trabajadores esenciales por $3 la hora, si mal no recuerdo era por 3 meses. Esta propuesta tenía un efecto de $0 al gobierno local de Calexico. No iba a salir de aquí. Y lo que este concilio pasó es de que votaron en contra. Así que ahora estamos aquí otra vez, tratando de hacer justicia a esa gente que aún con la solución aquí en la mesa, traída por concejal Ureña, la rechazaron. 8 meses después de una segunda acción casi violenta contra la gente pobre, noviembre 3 de 2021, aprueban cheques de $7,000 de bono para cada empleado de la ciudad, incluyendo a ellos que no calificaban legalmente para ese cheque. Estoy hablando del propio city manager, no usted, el que estaba, estoy hablando del ex jefe de policía. Todos aquellos que ganaban más de $100,000 al año no calificaban y se los dieron. Se los dieron. Eso pasó 8 meses después de votar y decirle a la gente pobre, ¿sabes qué? No, no te mereces $3 más la hora. Y eso me enfureció, porque mi mamá era trabajadora esencial. Y muchos se fueron de su trabajo, de su lugar de trabajo. Con ese coraje venía yo a gritarles cuando yo estaba sentado ahí. Esos cheques, $7,000, que era el cheque más grande de todo el condado, ni el centro, que está en mucho mejor lugar financieramente que Calexico, aprobó cheques de $7,000. Una blasfemia. No solamente eso, ¿por qué ahorita estamos hablando de ponerle límite? De ponerle límite a lo que la gente pobre quiere hacer con cheques de $500. Pero para los empleados de la ciudad, $7,000, hagan lo que quieran. Se lo pueden gastar en marihuana, se lo pueden gastar en alcohol, se lo pueden gastar en tabaco, se lo pueden gastar en drogas, se lo pueden gastar en vacaciones. No nos importa. Sin ninguna restricción. Así que le pido a este concilio, ¿por qué a ellos, a los empleados de la ciudad, ni una restricción? Y a los trabajadores esenciales sí. ¿Por qué a ellos sí? ¿Verdad? Y dijeron, and I quote, si tuviéramos más, se los daríamos. Eso pasó noviembre 3 de 2021. 4 meses después de eso, el concilio aprobó el ARPA Plan B, traído otra vez por concejal Ureña, que alocó $1 millón guardaditos para los trabajadores esenciales, con un voto en contra. Un mes antes de que se aprobara el Plan B, en febrero 25 de 2022, para aquellos que dicen que esto es ilegal, la propia firma de legal de la ciudad, Best & Best Krieger, dijo, basado en el ARPA, Rescue Plan Act, la regla final concluye que los proyectos sí elegibles para uso de fondos de ARPA incluye un programa de bono esencial para trabajadores esenciales. Entonces la ley está detrás de nosotros, para aquellos que dicen que es ilegal, porque ilegal para los trabajadores de la ciudad, no, pero para los pobres, que $500 es una bendición, para ellos sí. Entonces eso nos trae a julio 31 de 2023, en donde estamos votando por las guidelines y el modelo de adoptar para el programa. Para la gente que vino aquí, y perdón, pero como dijo la señorita ahorita, que voy a ser muy mean, dijo que quieren esto, que mejoren parques, para todo eso estaba en plan B. Así que, sinceramente, vinieron 16 meses muy tarde. Porque hace 16 meses y pico, para aquellos que dicen que están comprando votos, que qué casualidad, que ahora quieren dar cheques de 500, ahora que los están tratando de sacar. En este panfleto de campaña, aquí mero sale el $1 millón para trabajadores esenciales. Esto que hace año y medio, un año, y tengo exactamente la fecha en donde yo personalmente empecé a decir que se les diera bonos de pago a trabajadores esenciales, y fue octubre de 2021. Así que ustedes ahora venir a decir, no, casi a la meta final, siempre no, mejoren esto. Sinceramente, 16 meses muy tarde, lo siento.
Excuse me.
Estoy hablando, yo la respeté mientras usted hablaba.
No outbursts in the council.
There's rules of decorum. Perfecto. La señora que se fue, que decía que no, que $500,000 para los parques, sí, y todavía, porque ese $500,000 no sale de esto. Lo que ustedes leen en internet por ciertas personas, ¿qué creen? Es misinformación, no es información. ¿A poco todo le van a creer a unos expolíticos de 8 años de aquí? Porque, qué casualidad, 8 años y no les piden cuentas. Porque si vamos a hablar de cuentas, aquí tengo todas las promesas de campañas políticas de la señorita Hurtado, en donde dice en 2010 y en el 14, ni una promesa cumplió. No voy a ir en detalle, pero hagan su propio research. Pero bueno, esos $500,000 que yo propuse iban a estar en esta agenda. No hubo tiempo, no está. Como dije, eso es punto y aparte. Esto es $1,000,000 que se aprobó hace 16 meses. Así que nada de table, nada de reconsiderar, porque ya estamos 16 meses muy tarde. Como la señorita Rojo dijo, ¿cuánta gente no se nos fue ya? Esperando. Pero no solamente vengo a hablar de eso, porque también traigo las soluciones que concejal Moreno trajo. Y de hecho, si las pudiera pasar para allá. Aquí, basado en esas recomendaciones, vienen de el oficial de California estatal del Centro de Salud, en donde explica que los sectores recomendados para trabajadores esenciales son Healthcare and Public Health, que incluye trabajadores en las facilidades médicas, mortuarios, trabajadores de farmacias. La segunda sección, comida y agricultura, que incluye retail stores que venden comida, restaurantes, cualquier tipo de comida, convenience store employees, cooks, farm workers, para los pocos que puedan calificar, porque está el mandato de que tienen que vivir en Calexico. También transportación y logística, que incluye delivery drivers, los del correo, troqueros, taxistas, incluyendo aquellos que usan Uber, trabajadores de warehouse, discúlpeme, pero me do pocho. También otras funciones esenciales, como hospitalidad, porque mandaban a toda la gente infectada a los hoteles. Ellos deberían de recibir, la gente que limpiaba detrás de ellos. Manufactura, construcción, building professionals, electricistas, plomeros, child care workers, aquellos que cuidaban a los plebes, incluyendo In-Home Supportive Services, IHSS, también ellos, porque también estuvieron con la gente ayudando y que estaban expuestos. Esas son las recomendaciones que yo doy para que se amplíe un poco aquellos que son calificados, y porque realmente aquí no dice muy bien quiénes son los que se califican exactamente. Ahora, ¿por qué pregunté hace rato sobre si la aplicación dice que cualquier persona que sea familiar inmediato o conocido o de cualquiera que esté preparando el City Council o este programa no es elegible? Pero si lo aprobamos así, la gente que agarró $7,000 va a agarrar otros 500. Entonces eso a mí no se me hace justo. Entonces aquí hay una aplicación que yo creé, idéntica a la misma, que pusieron en los files, en donde incluye: Did you receive Essential Workers Bonus from City of Calexico ARPA funds before January 1st, 2023? ¿Sí o no? Para que no haya, y yo se la puedo dar, tengo muchísimas copias, de hecho se la puedo mandar por email, y los que quieran mirarla en persona, aquí está. Y si quieren mirar también las recomendaciones que estoy haciendo para incluir los trabajadores, aquí están también.
Sí, lo puedes poner acá en el
¿Me las podría? Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias.
Si las quieren agarrar de salida o ahorita mismo, están bienvenidos. Entonces, no solamente en este item le exijo a este concilio que no se haga table, pero que se apruebe con la opción B, porque no tenemos el derecho, después de decirle a los trabajadores de la ciudad, gástatelo en lo que quieras, a decir a los pobres, no, tú no. ¿Cómo está eso? ¿Qué si se lo quieren gastar, como dijo el ciudadano Ángel, en dentista? ¿Qué si se lo quieren gastar en biles? ¿Qué si quieren pagar el bill de internet? ¿Qué si quieren pagar el bill del carro? Que el carro es su movilidad y por eso tienen trabajo. ¿Cómo le vamos a decir eso a la gente? Poniendo ya el precedente de que los empleados de la ciudad, en lo que quieras, ¿verdad? Entonces le exijo, le suplico a este consejo que ignore totalmente la opción número A, váyanse por la B y háganle justicia a la gente que durante la pandemia casi fue pateada por esta ciudad, no dándoles paz de mente con que no los van a quitar de sus apartamentos, de sus casas que están rentando, y aparte todavía decirles que no, $3 más en Hero Pay, en la ordenanza de héroes. Esta no solamente es demasiado tardado ya, pero 16 meses muy tarde le exijo a este concilio que no lo haga table, que apruebe con la medida número B y la recomendación de que se cambie el lenguaje para que incluya que los empleados de la ciudad no califiquen para eso también. 7,000 fueron más que bastantes, más también incrementar las categorías que pueden calificar para eso, que incluya también, como dijo el señor Moreno, que si es un plomero, que si es un electricista, también se les va a pagar, porque tuvieron que entrar a las casas de las personas.
Let's go there real quick, just real quick, because he brought up remittance, and I think I brought it up too, but, so we're prohibited by law that we give out the money should not be in cash. No, it just,
There's nothing that prohibits that.
Okay, so-
That was a recommendation that I
that's what
was
you're making the
making.
recommendation
Yes, to keep the money in
because the
Calexico.
money stays here for economic reasons, right?
Yes.
That's your
If
recommendation.
it was prohibited, you wouldn't be able to give cash to anyone, and you already did.
But even if we do it in the form of a check? Or how are we going to do that? Deposit
So,
a bank
in
bank
order-
account or?
In order for the city to provide cash,
be-
we had to do it in a form of check.
Well, what I'm saying is, in order for the city to not be liable and not be in trouble, right?
There's
We don't
a
want to
doc-
get in trouble with dispersing funds, however that is, but there's guidelines how we distribute it, right? That's what I make sure
They had
on
to
that.
fill a W-9 form.
Okay, so.
But there's a
Qualified.
precedent already. We didn't ask these questions, we were giving them the money to the city employees. Una cosa más.
So the difference, I just
Una
want to
cosa más,
clarify
espe-
that.
Aguanten.
Oh, sí, porque están en payroll.
Tengo que
Están en
mantener
payroll,
el-
Sí,
Right, because you're the administrator and you're going to administrate that, and we want to make sure that we're in compliance. That's all them.
Una cosita antes de cerrar mis comentarios, porque ya voy a acabar.
¿Sí? Adelante.
Tomando una frase directa de aquella junta donde se aprobó los cheques de $7,000 de un concejal en este concilio, noviembre 3 de 2021 se dijo: está en la mesa, tenemos esta oportunidad de dar algo para atrás, para enseñarles que los apreciamos lo que hacen. Podemos ir para atrás, back and forth, en si es justo o no, pero está ahí, es una vez, así que una vez se los queremos compartir con ustedes y digo lo mismo, pero para los trabajadores esenciales de la ciudad que fueron ignorados, lo mismo. It's on the table, we have the opportunity to give something back to you, the essential workers, the unsung heroes of the pandemic. We appreciate what you do. We can go back and forth whether it's fair or not, but it's there, it's one time, so one time we want to share it with you.
Muchas gracias.
Ok. Pues muchas gracias, señor Manzanares. Pero usted tiene aquí 6 meses, 7 meses y yo tengo 1 año y pueden ver las juntas fregando porque den ese dinero a las personas esenciales. Y tú lo sabes, hemos trabajado junto en esto. Miren, para que sepan nomás y no nada más hablen y hablen pura tontería, sobre todo con todo respeto a los que están haciendo el recall, que no están haciendo las cosas como realmente sucedieron. Y me extraña porque la señora Rosy Fernández está ahí con ustedes y ella sabe muy bien cómo sucedieron las cosas, nada más.
No outburst.
Es todo.
Excuse me. she is
Entonces,
con permiso.
Don't bring up her
Excuse
name.
me.
She's entitled to the floor.
it's my time.
You are not allowed to outburst, and she has the right to speak her mind.
Y voy a explicar.
Bring up the name.
If there is another outburst, you will be escorted out. She has
Go
a
ahead and do what you have to do. I'm not
okay.
gonna shut up.
Okay. He's asking to be escorted out.
You're being biased.
He's asking to be escorted out. I'm asking for him to be escorted
Okay.
out. He has signaled that he will not behave.
Ask the attorney.
I-
Get some legal advice.
I
El
know.
mayor puede hacer lo
I
que
know,
él quiera.
I know her rights, and she has a right to speak on this item and bring up whatever name.
It's for the item.
But she doesn't have
Can you please exit so that we can continue with business? Thank you.
Please escort yourself
No.
out.
That's what being
Yeah.
Please escort yourself out.
Okay.
And I would like to remind Ms. Fernandez, profanity is not allowed in this council chamber. This is the second time I hear you say piece of shit in this council, and I want to put it on the record formally. This is not the first time, and the next time that it happens, you will also be escorted out. There is absolutely no profanity. There are kids in
Yeah.
here. You have to respect the kids. Okay, thank you.
Ok. Hicieron un plan en esta mesa anteriormente. El señor Miguel Figueroa estaba aquí. Y fue un show tener que cambiar ese plan. Señoras y señores, ese plan era un plan muy injusto. Entonces, yo hice una moción, y lo pueden buscar ustedes en las redes, donde pedí que se hiciera un taller para que viniera la gente. ¿Te acuerdas? Estuvieron aquí varias caritas que estoy viendo, para que la gente, el pueblo, dijera en qué se iba a gastar el ARPA. Eso es democracia. Y aquí vino la gente y el plan ese se cambió 360 grados, completamente se cambió. Lo único que no se pudo cambiar, y todavía me acuerdo, es que no sé si ya sabían que se iba a cambiar este plan. Cuando llamé a hacer un taller, rápido se apuraron para dar los $7,000 a los empleados. Tiene razón el señor Manzanares. No se molesten los empleados, porque le pedí al abogado que dijera, quiénes votaron a favor de eso y quiénes no votaron a favor. Ay, señora, nomás no se vaya a estrellar en otra casa, váyase. Dios guarde. Sangre de Cristo, ni lo mande Dios. No, es que quieren saber, aquí se dijo, y pues busquen ese día, para poder hablar hay que buscar la información. Busquen ese video, cuando le pedí yo al abogado que dijera cuántos votos habían estado a favor y cuántos votos habían estado en contra. Muy bien, no es porque estuviéramos en contra de los empleados, porque estábamos mirando, según la ley del ARPA, que qué tipo de trabajadores merecían una recompensa, ¿no? Muchos trabajadores, muchos estuvieron trabajando desde su casa. Estábamos hablando de trabajadores esenciales que sí trabajaron en las partes e inclusive muchos murieron, ¿no? Entonces, hay mucha desigualdad y mucha discriminación en esto. Ahora, no estoy de acuerdo en el plan que nos ha dado la señora Esperanza, con todo respeto, porque si a unas personas se le exigió unas cosas, a otras personas se debe exigir lo mismo. Yo estoy de acuerdo que los empleados están aquí, todos están registrados, pero en aquel tiempo se le dijo al administrador que buscara a las empresas que sí estuvieron abiertas. Era muy fácil buscar las empresas que sí estuvieron abiertas y que pudieran las mismas empresas apoyarnos para saber qué empleados habían trabajado. Había mucha manera de trabajar en esto, pero no quisieron trabajar, es la verdad. Entonces, todas esas personas, yo las veía en los supermercados, en las gasolineras, en las farmacias. Señora Rumi, ¿cuándo nos van a dar el cheque? ¿Por qué? Porque se hizo ese taller y todo mundo sabía lo que se había escogido. Ese dinero se había escogido para darle a esos trabajadores esenciales. Estuvieron diciendo muchas cosas, siguen diciendo cosas que no son. Busquen los videos para que puedan darse cuenta realmente cómo quedó esto. Yo les digo una cosa, no se vale discriminar. Si, señora Colio, a los empleados de Calexico no se les pidió en qué iban a gastar el dinero, discúlpeme. Y usted sabe perfectamente que eso no se hace. Y otra cosa, porque usted, con todo respeto, no es un CVP. ¿Cómo que todas las personas que viven en Calexico? ¿Sabe qué? Hay muchas personas, todas las que trabajan aquí en Calexico, viven en Mexicali, pero tienen dirección aquí. Come on. Estamos hablando, ¿no? Estamos hablando de trabajadores. Caray, no me lo etiquete, oiga. Yo no sé si aquí en la ciudad también habrá algún trabajador que vive en Mexicali. O sea, no somos CVPs, por Dios, ni Departamento de Estado. Y así lo dije una vez en la Calexico Unified School District, cuando empezaron a sacarme a todos los chamaquitos porque pasaban todos los días de Mexicali para acá. Y detuvimos ese programa, porque no se vale. Eran ciudadanos americanos, bueno, por los chamaquitos, pero vivían allá en Mexicali. Come on, ¿de veras? Estamos aquí, Calexico y Mexicali es la misma cosa, casi, pero estamos en el primer mundo. ¿Ah? Pero aquí hay mucho trabajador esencial. Yo estoy de acuerdo completamente con el señor Manzanares, que se cambien esos requisitos definitivamente y se le extienda. Muy bien, señor Manzanares, esto nos los proporcionó el abogado, la firma del abogado que está aquí presente, nos mandó, yo lo tengo en mi correo electrónico, absolutamente todo el estudio de ARPA, de lo que podíamos hacer, a quién le podíamos decir. Entonces, ese lo puede ser público, el que lo quiera yo se lo presto. Así es que, con mucho respeto, esto que estamos ahorita aquí tratando, no es de que cuánto le vamos a dar a los empleados, es únicamente la metodología. Y yo no estoy de acuerdo con esa metodología. Así es que, no sé, señor Manzanares, usted hizo la propuesta del plan B,
Ahorita llegamos
usted
a las
diga
mociones.
eso.
Ahorita
¿Okay?
llegamos a las mociones,
Sí,
hay que
gracias.
expresar todos los regidores primero. Quisiera tomar la palabra, yo sé que el señor García también levantó la mano. No voy a alargar mucho esta conversación, un punto clave de trabajo. Una de las cosas que vi en la aplicación que sí se puso en internet es que tiene que proveer a alguien una residencia de Calexico, que estoy completamente de acuerdo. Pero hay muchas personas como yo, especialmente personas jóvenes que viven con sus papás. Entonces, si me pregunta, ¿tienes un nombre de electricidad o de agua, gas a tu nombre? No lo tengo. Entonces, quisiera ver si hay un documento en que pueden dar la firma del propietario atestiguando de que viven ahí y la luz o el agua de ese arrendero o propietario, para que validen que viven en Calexico, pero a lo mejor rentan, vives con sus papás. No quisiera excluir a esas personas y pienso que... adelante.
Just for clarification.
Sí.
Do you want that individual to be related to the family that lives in the house? Like daughter and son? A linear line or cousins, friends? How do you want to do that?
By household is fine. Simplemente esa persona, hay que decir que yo vivo con mis papás.
Ajá.
Por ejemplo, yo soy
That's
parte
a
de
linear,
esa casa.
linear line,
Sí,
yes.
sigo siendo parte de esas dos personas que pueden
Yes.
agarrar.
So do you want to tie to the family, being part of the family?
To the household.
To the household, okay.
If it's tied to the household, because I know like a veces mucha gente renta aquí en Calexico, pero son utilidades incluidas, entonces quizás no tengan eso. Does that also cover?
Yes, they would have an affidavit. Ahora, una pregunta muy específica. Ahorita pregunto otra vez. When you say household, ¿estás hablando household como IRS? Que yo soy un household y mis papás son otro household? ¿O estás hablando casa?
No. Household is the person, the head of the house, in this case. Your mom, your dad, those are household.
That's the household.
You can have two families living in the house. So you can have a couple living in your house, maybe in the garage or something, and they have another family. Or sometimes what happens is mother and father, they're a household. Son and daughter-in-law living in the same house, they are another family.
Okay,
So
IRS,
those two
household.
families, household IRS, yes.
Got it.
Yes.
That's much better.
So
yes.
I wanted to clarify something. Oh, my senior moment, I forgot.
Disculpa.
So there was another question that you asked that I want to mention. Let me get it back up. I
Ahorita
forgot.
llegamos. Déjame nomás digo mi comentario brevemente. No quiero alargar más. Eso era mi único pregunta. ¿Cómo se iban a particionar las casas? ¿Lista?
I remember. So you said sometimes the rent comes with utilities. It's stipulated on the contract. You bring that contract, we know that the water and the sewer and the electricity is included. So automatically makes it eligible.
Yeah, I just want to clear that it's possible for them to
Yes.
qualify for this. So thank you.
Yes.
And for the people that don't rent or live at home, they'll be able to do something similar.
So in those scenarios for households with linear family members, yes.
Okay.
We can do that.
Okay, sounds great. Lo único que quería expresar y agradecer al regidor Manzanares por traer la historia aquí a la mesa. Una de las, gracias por traérmelo a la memoria, esos días hasta me hirvió la sangre acá arriba, como no me ha hervido en varios años, ¿verdad? Ese Hero Pay que se le iba a dar a todos los trabajadores esenciales tenía una cláusula que solamente era para los mega negocios, la Walmart, la Food for Less, porque vinieron muchas gentes que obviamente no leyeron a decir que era en contra de los negocios pequeños. Al contrario, nos hubiera cubierto los empleadores más grandes, que son la Calexico Unified, la Walmart, la Food for Less, y no tuviéramos esta conversación. En lugar de 1,800 hubieran sido como 300 chequecitos, pero por terquedad de cabildos pasados, pues eso fue lo que pasó. Y la otra de los $7,000 de COVID, aparte que se les dio a personas que ganaban más de $150,000 al año, que el señor ex jefe de policía estaba aquí llorando lágrimas. Eran los días que no los dejaban entrar al cabildo. La señora Fernández cerró el cabildo para todos. ¿Se acuerdan que no podían ni entrar porque el COVID, uy, Diosito? Estaba aquí llorando el ex jefe cuando nadie podía entrar al cabildo y todavía llorando sus lágrimas de cocodrilo diciendo, no, pues es que gano tanto y a mí no me tocó el cheque de 1,400 y por favor dame mis 7,000, y se les dio en contra de los reglamentos establecidos de ARPA. Y aparte, todas las personas que tuvieron el lujo, primero que nada el lujo de tener trabajo durante la pandemia, como bien dijo la señora Flores, se les cerró todo su edificio, estuvieron completamente trabajando en casa, y a todas esas secretarias, personas de oficina que no estuvieron por lo nada expuesto al COVID, los bomberos sí, los policías sí, pero todos los que trabajan en las oficinillas, detrás de un cobertor de plástico o de vidrio que los protege hasta de los balazos, esas personas se les dieron también $7,000. Pero aquí estamos queriendo canjear a esa persona del 7-Eleven, a esa persona que sí se enfermó. ¿Dónde puede gastar su dinero? De ahí crece la injusticia, y queremos corregir eso, dar los cheques y ir a lo que sigue, porque hay muchas maneras de hacer llegar esos fondos a los parques, al downtown. Todavía hay fondos que tenemos que gastar. Entonces, le agradezco mucho, regidor. Nomás pido esa corrección para asegurar los arrenderos. Ahorita en la moción.
Just to clarify,
¿Sí?
we have to do checks. That's a fact.
Sí, por supuesto.
Yes.
No es
Okay.
cash, es cheque que se convierte en
Yes.
cash. Sí, por supuesto que sí. El señor García iba a decir algo.
Thank you. I know that history has been brought up quite a few times, but if you go back in history also, some of these council members were lining up for those $7,000. I was the lone dissenting vote that said from the beginning that we shouldn't be lining up until we had to get it from, the experts that we didn't qualify. That was when we took a step back. So for us to say that we were always the ones, championing, let's just remember the entire history. Let's not be selective. And then also, let's not be selective as to how we run these meetings. It is a disservice. It is just beyond my belief that we almost empty this room from people who disagree with the statements that we're making. We're being selective. And that's not a process. Excuse me.
You have to stay on the topic at hand.
Excuse me. That's part of the topic. Being able express.
There were outbursts, and
Excuse me. You're doing the same thing where the only one that can say something is you.
I can take the floor from you, and I can.
Oh yeah, based on what?
Based on the municipal code.
Show me.
Diosito. Well, you want us to call a 5-minute recess so we can check?
Call whatever you want. Call whatever you want. I'm sorry,
Legal?
I'm not looking.
Can you clarify?
Can you clarify who is the presiding officer?
You know what? I don't even have any trust in legal. So.
Yeah, I mean, for public comment, everybody needs to be able to comment on an item. I mean, if we have an item on here, every council member needs to have the opportunity to speak on the item.
In reference to the outbursts, outbursts.
If there's disruptions to the council meetings, yeah, it should not be based on comments and what they're saying.
So
It
am I
it can't be. No, you're not disrupting.
So
No,
I'm just making my statement.
correct. No.
So if I need to make my statements, let me.
You're allowed, yeah.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you. So, again, we always go back to the city manager and say, well, what do you recommend? I have gone, really sick and tired of what do you recommend? What's your recommendation? And most of the time, we go with what she recommends. But this time, all of a sudden, no. So let's not be selective. Let's make sure that we are fair. And for someone to say also, and keep on bringing this up, the $7,000. Yes, do you know your employees? Do you know what some of those employees did? And not all of them got $7,000. There were some guidelines as to, what they received. Not all of them got the $7,000. So let's get the facts straight. So, you know as well as I know that we still owe them to the employees. The ones that are doing the parks, those are temporary workers. Did we fight to give them money because they didn't qualify because
I did.
And then also, did we fight also to give that money to the person that passed away?
Yes, she did.
Well, but did we get it done?
She's trying.
Well,
Wait, yes, she did. She actually did.
after how long?
Pues no sé, cuando la dejaron.
No, cuando la dejamos. Who did you ask to look into that? Who did you ask to look into that?
Legal. ¿A quién le preguntaste para los muertitos, Romo? ¿Te acuerdas?
The attorney. The attorney, the city manager.
Pues sí.
So something, it's pointing at, one common denominator here. So again, those are just my comments. Hopefully we get back into being open, being able to have people express their opinions, being able to just be fair. Thank you.
I have one more comment, because Camilo does have a point in which one must not be selective and must be transparent. So I'm going to be transparent. When I refer to the 2020 as, eviction moratorium that would have affected 46% of Calexico, you didn't vote for it. When the Hero Pay ordinance, who would have avoided this entire meeting, you didn't vote for it. During the ARPA Plan B, which included $1 million for essential workers, almost $1 million for parks, $3 million for downtown infrastructure, you were the sole dissenting vote against. And when I quoted this earlier, we can go back and forth whether it was fair or not when referring to the 7K checks, but it's there one time. So we want to share it with you. That was you. So with that being said, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there actually a motion on the floor?
There is a motion. Would you like to withdraw your motion or keep your motion?
No, you approved the motion, but I was going to put an amendment to it. And I think we clarified that already by talking about it.
Would you be open to letting him make the motion and you the second?
Well, make the motion, I'll put it as long as the changes.
Okay.
My concern was that we had included everybody else.
There is no second on the
Right.
motion just yet.
So go ahead with the motion.
Make a motion to approve item number 9, option B, that it's $500 checks to essential workers with the additional language that I proposed for the application, which disqualifies city employees from basically practically double dipping. I'm sure they would understand, it's the fair thing to do, as well as include the language that I proposed on the recommendations, including the eligible sectors that is here. That is my motion to approve, as well with the points brought up by Mayor Ureña regarding the people that live and don't have possible affidavits.
I just want to go over all the notes that I took to see if you're okay with that, and that way I can put it together. So, do you also mention a person that died, they didn't have services? They didn't have a funding.
You want to say it again? I'm sorry?
Ms. Romo, you mentioned someone that died, they didn't get the funding that you've been fighting for that individual. Am I correct? Usted mencionó a alguien que falleció y que nunca recibió su dinero.
Esos empleados de la ciudad.
Empleados de la ciudad eran dos.
Ajá.
Dos personas.
¿Quiere que los incluya también en este grupo?
No,
era
para el otro
Ok,
programa.
muy bien, ok. No, gracias. Qué bueno que lo clarificaron porque ya me estaba confundiendo.
Is the motion clear?
Los compañeros dijeron que sí se le iba a dar a esas dos personas y no me consta si se les dio.
Ok.
No, lo que sea cada quien, todos votaron por unanimidad que se le diera, Camilo, a las dos personas fallecidas, a la familia, pero nunca supe si se les dio.
No se les dio. No se les dio. Por eso lo hablé yo, por eso lo dije yo, nunca se les dio. Ese señor trabajaba aquí en la ciudad de Calexico.
Y ahora también quisiera que se le diera a las personas fallecidas, también porque fallecieron muchas personas.
Ahora sí dentro de este programa. Pero ya habías dicho el procedimiento.
La familia pueda reclamar, ¿no? Los hijos.
Sí.
Okay. Hay que dejar que Esperanza...
no, pero está en la moción.
Sí, por eso. Sí,
Ok,
pero va a analizar esa moción.
Ok, so es la opción B, eliminar a los empleados que ya recibieron servicios, incrementar las categorías que se mencionó, que les mandaron por correo, no limitarlo a residentes de Calexico, pero limitarlos a las personas que trabajaron en Calexico. Eso es lo que entendí.
No.
Ok,
Esa no
otra.
es la moción.
Ok.
La moción sigue siendo residentes, pero con manera de que los arrenderos y los que viven en casa con papás tengan manera de verificar su
so sigue siendo residentes.
Esperanza, in lieu of that, they should show, right? In lieu of that, they should show that.
Okay.
To justify the in lieu, right?
Sí. Okay. Se mantiene igual. Hay que tener mociones
Okay.
claras.
Y eso va con los residentes que tienen, que son familias que utilizaron una affidavit para poder aprobarlos.
Sí.
En algunas ocasiones, cuando no existan utilidades, poder utilizar la renta, el contrato de renta que diga que las utilidades están incluidas y las personas que murieron. Eso son todo lo que tengo.
Sí.
A menos que se me haya escapado algo.
Nomás se escapó un detallito chiquito. Dentro de las categorías de las enmiendas del concejal Manzanares, me habías notificado que campesinos, como no hay files en Calexico, aunque
No.
aunque lo pusiéramos, no calificarían.
Porque realmente no trabajaron en Calexico. Aun cuando las compañías pueden tener un negocio establecido, una oficina en la ciudad de Calexico, pero los trabajadores están trabajando en el condado. Eso caería en la responsabilidad del condado de Imperial, no en la responsabilidad de la ciudad. El hecho de que tengan una oficina aquí no quiere decir que trabajen aquí. Trabajan en el campo y esos deberían de caer en las áreas no incorporadas del condado.
¿Gustarías quitar los farm workers sabiendo que no van a poder calificar por la jurisdicción física?
Pues no van a calificar, así que there's no point in having them there in the first place. So.
Y podemos ayudar a canalizarlos a unos programas que a lo mejor no todos tomar los $600 para los campesinos. Para los campesinos que lleguen, hay que ayudarlos a agarrar esos 600. Trabajando con UFWs.
Okay, ahora you mentioned 600 and I was thinking 500.
I will tell you, es otro programa.
Okay.
Por si llega un campesino, a canalizarlos al programa de $600. Y ahí luego dialogamos de eso. ¿Ok? Entonces,
I also want to make sure that you motion $75,000, up to $75,000
Of course, that's
for the
included. Yeah, that's
implementation of the
included.
program, and allow me 2 weeks to hire those individuals through the Hunter company, the outsourced company, for temporary work, and so that I can train them and then get the program ongoing.
Yeah.
okay. All those changes?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. Motion is amended. to
And I'll
reflect.
second it.
There's a second by Mr. Moreno. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All
Not
those
as it's being
against?
proposed.
No. There is one no. The motion passes 4-1.
Okay, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Ms. Romo, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Moreno. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion is adjourned. Meeting is adjourned. 10:26 p.m.